representing Florida. So I'm going to ask you one more time, are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
I think so. We'll see. As long as she is, as long as she can hold on.
I'm not feeling 100% today, but we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Dude, I am ready for today. This is my home turf. We're ready.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do we feel today?
10.
10?
Feel pretty good today.
Team manager here is getting me all cleaned up. You know, look at this. She just got a soaking wet roll of paper towels. What's going on, Mason? It was tough. It was very rough out there. A little bit rougher than I was expecting. First 2 laps were nice and smooth, but man, towards the end there, and I was just able to get myself a gap, so I sprinted early, and I knew I would regret it, and I did. So. But no, it was good. Bike felt good. I felt pretty good. We had a good day. We were able to get a win. So really wasn't expecting this in Florida because it's really not my jam down here. But I made it my jam this year. I don't know about that. You should have seen my face underneath my helmet, and I wouldn't have made it look too easy.
Got out there that first lap. So dusty. I knew Landon and Cody and Brandon, they took off through that first corner. They went 4 wide into a corner that was barely wide enough for 1. I was like, okay, these guys are on a mission to do something. I'm going to let them do what they got to do. And, you know, lap and a half later, I see Cody kind of putzing around. I don't know if he crashed or what happened to him, but got around him. And then wasn't a mile later, I see Brandon. He lets me by, gives me a hand wave, and at that point, I went across the finish, so I was in second.
Last year we came here, my sister passed me on the last lap. That is as embarrassing as it gets. So after that, I was like, this year, this can't happen again. So the whole time in the back of my head, I wasn't even racing with the guys in my class. I just didn't want my sister to catch me. And I was like, okay, well, we're running in 6th, and then passed another guy running in 5th, and it just kept creeping up on the last lap. I didn't even know I was in 3rd place. I went around Cody on the last lap. He was laying on the ground, and I didn't know what was going on. And people just kept throwing up 3, 3, 3, and I was like, oh my God. And I was depleted, and I was like, I got to finish this. I'm happy. I'm very happy with how I finished.
I'm glad it looked easy. Sections was really tough, and sections was, I wouldn't say easy at all, but it was a little bit of a break. The Palmetto section was just long enough, but there was a lot of sand whoops out there, and I just kept telling myself, just keep standing, because sitting down's not as fast. Sitting down's not as fast. So it's being in shape and a mental game out there. It's nuts.
We're gonna be sand surfing though for the next 2 hours, so I'm gonna get my time in on the surf, and then maybe we'll go to the beach and take up some surfing lessons this week.
Get the video, Mason. Do your job. Dude, come on. What do I look like? Do I look like am I a jumper? I'm a jumper. I'm actually doing the Daytona Supercross tomorrow.
We're actually doing it today at the 5 mile mark.
Yeah, at the 5 mile mark, I'll be like, woo.
I don't know. I heard some rumors they might take it out after the first lap. I don't know. I'm still going to send it every lap if I can. So, you know, it ain't any bigger than the sky shot. We used to hit that.
We're here in sunny Florida, so I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? And just got a report, sounds like Glana not racing today. A little under the weather. Hey, how about it for the rookie Wyatt Wilkin on the 621 SPR GBC back right, grabbing the whole shot. In 10 seconds for the XC2 Pro-Am. Nick Royalty, Shan Garcia, Joseph Fonte, Daniel Peters, Albert Jed, Janice, Chase Allison, Lane McCormick. Oh, look at the battle out in front. It's a three-way battle.
to stay perfect in 2023 and does so. A 2 for 2 to start the year. And that is Bryson Neal on the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, grabbing the overall win here in the sands of Palatka, Florida.
Oh, man. That track, no matter how good a shape you are, it's tough. There's no smooth part on that track whatsoever. And where they took out that field section, you get no break. You get nowhere to just hang on the throttle, let your tongue hang out, and just hang on it and shake your arms, get a drink. The track here was gnarly, but man, this bike handled so great today. I got a great start, got off the woods, got out front on the first lap, and just tried to ride my own race and keep it smooth. And was able to do that. And I had one little get off. I jumped a little bit too far on the whoop and went. My front bumper just pushed right over the berm. Had to get off and pull back in the track. But other than that, it was a pretty smooth day. So that's what you said around one. You said I looked super smooth around one, and then here it is. So I'll take it. Then me and my dad's motto was smooth and easy. So I'm accomplishing the mission. Smooth and easy, man. Smooth and easy, baby.
Some days you build a sandcastle at the beach, and some days you get sand in your pants. Today I got sand in my pants. No, I mean, I didn't put myself in a good position off the start, and unfortunately, there's a lot of roadblocks out there, a lot of moving roadblocks, And, you know, some people were great, others weren't. And I just wasn't, it was a hard place to pass, and I had to really dig those last couple laps. And I mean, hey, you know, we're making progress, you know, I mean, you know, Bryson unfortunately was able to just walk away that first lap, and I couldn't do anything about it. But watch as I was, you know, fifth place deep in there. And I mean, hey, we're gonna keep working on it, and no, not gonna fold anymore. Sand surfing. This surfer is done.
That's what happens when you don't have a motorhome. Good up, buddy. I saw Jared.
Dude, Jared and I freaking.
Well, I showed him that line the lap before, and he actually passed me, and then he tried passing you, and he went over the bars pretty decent.
I wish you and I could have just gotten going on start.
Yeah, I felt good. It just the track was real risky to pass. Yeah. And you know, it is what it is. Yeah, you know, we got off to a decent start, but kind of everybody came together, got shuffled towards the back. I think I was actually behind Hunter, and didn't really actually know who was in front of me. I only knew there was a few guys behind me, and you know, kind of was a bummer, not what we wanted, but you know, luckily we had some wind. Not really, I don't think it rained hard to tell in the woods, but you know, enough to kind of, the dust was not bad, but you know, the track was typical Florida. It got beat, it got rough, and you know, it's hard to find, wasn't hard to find lines. The problem was getting to them. You know, we get those, you know, 3-foot, 4-foot rut train tracks, and you know, Hunter was running a decent pace. We felt good, fitness was good, we wasn't cramping. You know, the bike was running good, and you know, just trying to minimize mistakes. And we're coming out next weekend in Georgia, no blisters, fitness was good, and you know, we only have a little bit of turnaround time to get the bike ready. So you know, we minimized mistakes, and the person we're battling with, you know, we went 2-3, 3-2, and we're tied, and you know, it's a long season, and you know, I'm gonna try and be a little more consistent this year. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
That is what it's all about, guys. They put on one heck of a race for you out here at Wild Boar. Here we go! We got champagne spraying here in the XC1 Pro class. The battles at the front of the podium for the t-shirts and the koozies are downright vicious out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for round 2 of the 2023 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. Palatka, Florida. They got sand. That's all they have. Well, they've also got these things called palmettos that have their own joints and fingers that reach up, grab your machine, and pull it to the ground, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to separate the men from the boys, the women from the girls. The cream of the crop is going to rise to the top, and it all starts right now at the Palatka GNCC. Let's do it!
awesome. My plan was to get a good start. Executed that, so I checked that off the list, and then I just tried to stay calm when I got into those lappers, so I didn't make any silly mistakes. And yeah, it was just checking off laps. I did what I came to do, and everyone's complaining about the track, and you can't come into it with a negative mindset. So I was pumped all week, and I'm pumped. This one was decent. I got my knuckle a little bit the third lap, but this hand's good, so I was throttle hand all day.
Ready to endure the suffer. It's gonna be a suffer. It's hot. I think it's similar to last year. It's gonna be deep sand rollers for 3 hours. I got all these podcasts telling me I can't finish 3 hours, so I gotta try and finish 3 hours today. Thanks, man.
I don't know. I heard some.
10 seconds for the XC2 Pro-Am. Nick Royalty, Shan Garcia, Joseph Monty, Daniel Peters, Albert Janish, Chase Allison, Lane McCormick. Oh, look at the battle out in front. It's a three-way battle.
Trying to stay perfect in 2023 and does so. A 2 for 2 to start the year. And that is Bryson Neal on the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, grabbing the overall win here in the sands of Palatka, Florida.
Oh, man. That track, no matter how good a shape you are, it's tough. There's no smooth part on that track whatsoever. And where they took out that field section, you get no break. You get nowhere to just hang on the throttle, let your tongue hang out, and just hang on it and shake your arms, get a drink. The track here was gnarly, but man, this bike handled so great today. I got a great start, got off the woods, got out front on the first lap, and just tried to ride my own race and keep it smooth. And was able to do that. And I had one little get off. I jumped a little bit too far on the whoop and went. My front bumper just pushed right over the berm. Had to get off and pull back in the track. But other than that, it was a pretty smooth day. So that's what you said around one. You said I looked super smooth around one, and then here it is. So I'll take it. Then me and my dad's motto was smooth and easy. So I'm accomplishing the mission. Smooth and easy, man. Smooth and easy, baby.
Some days you build a sandcastle at the beach, and some days you get sand in your pants. Today I got sand in my pants. No, I mean I didn't put myself in a good position off the start. And unfortunately, there was a lot of roadblocks out there, a lot of moving roadblocks. And, you know, some people were great, others weren't. And I just wasn't, it was a hard place to pass, and I had to really dig those last couple laps. And I mean, hey, you know, we're making progress, you know, I mean, you know, Bryson unfortunately was able to just walk away that first lap, and I couldn't do anything about it. But watch as I was, you know, fifth place deep in there. And I mean, hey, we're gonna keep working on it, and no, not gonna fold anymore. Sand surfing. This surfer is done.
That's what happens when you don't have a motorhome. Good up, buddy. I saw Jared.
Dude, they're not freaking.
Well, I showed him that line the lap before, and he actually passed me, and then he tried passing you, and he went over the bars pretty decent.
I wish you and I could have just gotten going on the start.
Yeah, I felt good. It's just the track was real risky to pass. Yeah. And, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, you know, we got off to a decent start, but kind of everybody came together, got shuffled towards the back. I think I was actually behind Hunter, and didn't really actually know who was in front of me. I only knew there was a few guys behind me, and, you know, kind of was a bummer, not what we wanted, but, you know, luckily we had some wind. Not really, I don't think it rained hard to tell in the woods, but, you know, enough to kind of, the dust was not bad, but, you know, the track was typical Florida. It got beat, it got rough, and, you know, it's hard to find, wasn't hard to find lines. The problem was getting to them. You know, we get those, you know, 3-foot, 4-foot rut train tracks, and, you know, Hunter was running a decent pace. We felt good. Fitness was good. We wasn't cramping. You know, the bike was running good, and, you know, just trying to minimize mistakes, and we'll come out next weekend in Georgia. No blisters. Fitness was good, and, you know, only have a little bit of turnaround time to get the bike ready. So, you know, we minimized mistakes, and the person we're battling with, you know, we went 2-3, 3-2, and we're tied, and, you know, it's a long season, and, you know, I'm going to try and be a little more consistent this year. Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
That is what it's all about, guys. They put on one heck of a race for you out here at Wild Boar. Here we go! We got champagne spraying here in the XC1 Pro Class. The battles at the front of the podium for the T-shirts and the koozies are downright vicious out here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for round 2 of the 2023 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. Palatka, Florida. They got sand. That's all they have. Well, they've also got these things called palmettos that have their own joints and fingers that reach up, grab your machine, and pull it to the ground, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to separate the men from the boys, the women from the girls. The cream of the crop is going to rise to the top, and it all starts right now at the Palatka GNCC. Let's do it! GNCC returns to Racer TV here today for the specialized General GNCC. In 2 rounds of racing, we've seen 2 different winners. Florida, a week ago, it was Ben Kelly grabbing the win, Stu Baylor finishing second. We go back to the opening round. It was Stu Baylor grabbing the win at Big Buck, Ben Kelly taking second place. But, of course, there are plenty of other guys out there who have something to say about it. Jordan Ashburn, he's been off the podium for the first 2 rounds. The man is not happy. He wants to return to the podium here today. All that and more starts now here on RacerTV.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to round number 3 of the 2023 Grand National Cross Country Racing Series presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. We are here at Aonia Pass in Washington, Georgia for this, the Specialized General GNCC. Johnny, it was a short week, man. We did not have the normal week or 2 weekends in between these rounds, as we know is always the case here between round 2 and 3 at GNCC, man. What are these guys going through right now in their heads?
The toughest week in GNCC racing. That's exactly what this is. Such a short turnaround, no chance really to recoup. Even the teams are stressed because they have to get everything packed up, the bikes re-prepped, and all the way up here to Georgia, set up and ready to go in 7 days' time. Really what we're going to find out here is the men are men, and they're going to let everybody know it, and that's what we're going to find out here over the course of this next 180 minutes.
I hear you guys talk about it all the time. This is the round that kind of the championship chase, the hunt, it begins right here in round number 3 up in the Georgia clay.
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about a lot of hype around round 1. Everybody comes in, everybody has the potential to be a champion. By the time you get to round 2, you've kind of figured out who the players may be. Then the Florida Sands are just kind of their own thing. They don't really fit in with any other part of GNCC racing. The track is different, the conditions are different, so you can't put a whole lot of weight and stake in the results from that event. However, once you get here, you're back in the clay, you're back in the pines, and everybody knows that this is where you get on path to that championship.
Nailed it. Hey, Ben Kelly coming off a big win. Round 1, it was Stu, looking real reminiscent of a couple of years ago. Fingers crossed, knock on wood, everybody continues to stay healthy, but we got ourselves a good championship brewing, and it's still early.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you go back to 2021 and that battle that came all the way down to the final round, so much hype, so many eyes on it, really.
Yeah.
I think it raised the notoriety of GNCC to a whole new level. 2022, a great championship. Obviously, Jordan Ashburn very happy with the outcome of it, but it was hard not to mention the fact that the field was depleted. Again, there's no asterisk. That's not what we're talking about here. But in terms of from a fan's perspective, it just didn't quite have that same level of excitement. Fast forward to 2023, and we're right back there. You got two Titans up front just throwing punches, going at it, and through 2 rounds, it really has been those two kind of distancing themselves just ever so slightly from the rest of the riders wanting a piece of the podium.
Yeah, and to Jordan Ashburn's credit, he's not been happy that he's been off the podium. He's got that number 1 plate for a reason. Mr. Consistency has not performed to his own expectations yet. I got a feeling he turns that around here this weekend, but he's got a couple guys in the way. Craig DeLong having great rides, Ricky Russell having great rides this season. Talk about those guys, Johnny.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of Craig was the one on the losing end of that whole battle. I think at round 1 was right there in P4, not far off of Ricky in P3. Thought we might see him and Jordan push themselves up and throw themselves into that podium battle. Instead, it was Jordan was able to make the pass on Craig, relegate him to 5th. Very unhappy with that. Ricky obviously was pumped to be on the podium, although he had kind of led early. This was round 1. Fast forward to round 2. I think Jordan was the one that kind of fell off that pace there at some point during the race. Just didn't seem to have the pace, didn't seem to have quite the stamina to go the distance. Craig DeLong, the opposite end of the coin, grabs the lead early. Ben Nelko with the whole shot. Craig DeLong takes over the lead and runs away from the field for a couple laps. Finally realized maybe he was pushing a little too hard, let the race come back to him, and then from there it was a dogfight between him and Ricky Russell over that final podium position.
It was a wild one just a week ago. We got more of it here today. Hey, XC2, Ryder Lafferty, the Coastal Racing Factory Gas ride, 2 for 2 to start the year. I didn't see that coming. I thought, hey, podium contender, a winner, sure, but 2 in a row.
We've got a little podcast, this thing called The Inside Line,
yes.
where we talk about...
There's the plug.
Man, there was... Shameless plug, of course. There was so much hype around Lyndon Snodgrass coming in. I mean, he really seemed to find his groove last year, and he's been close. It's not that he's not been there, but Ryder Lafferty has just stepped up his game, was able to wrestle last minute away at round 1, and when you come right down to round 2, he really didn't have a huge margin of victory, 16 seconds over Liam Draper, but the point was he led that thing basically start to finish and never really seemed challenged. Anytime somebody upped the pace, he would see it on the pit board, he'd pick it up and pull back away. So very strong Ryder Lafferty this year. And again, you know, Lyndon Snodgrass down in the first turn, had to charge his way through, surely had to use a lot of energy coming through the pack, ending up on the podium, great points on the day, and still very much in the thick of this hunt for the championship.
Hey, XC2 is going to be a grind this year, have no doubt about it. And how about the FMF XC3, that 125 class? Toby Cleveland, they said, hey, is he the fastest man on a 125 in history? He backs it up in Florida with another win. He might be on to something.
Yeah, you know, he's looking good. We talked about it a little bit the last show. Came out round 1 running P12.08 for quite a while, finishing up just outside of that top 20, which is still phenomenal on that little 125 machine. Great ride again in Florida, taking the win, and apparently just really not having anybody that's able to run his pace at the moment. Some of those other contenders are going to have to step up if they want a piece of that podium.
Well, hey, you've heard from Johnny and I. We want to hear from one of those contenders in the XC1. Had a chance to catch up with one of our riders prior to today's race.
What helps me be a good mud rider, I would say, is just kind of being adaptive in all conditions. Kind of grew up in the rocks and the mud and the hills, and kind of rode in all the terrain no matter what. And, you know, it's when we have a race, it's raining like a typhoon like it is right now. It's just kind of is what it is. We all got to do it and have a good outlook going into it, and results will be good. You know, today it might be a little bit chilly. I think once you get racing, it's fine. Usually you kind of warm up and you forget about it, but starting today is going to be tough in the rain and the cold. And I know anybody out here, nobody like don't care to race in the rain, but like starting in the rain is a different story. So, but today's going to be that day, and you know, it doesn't happen very often, but it's going to be an interesting day of racing. Who knows what to look out for? We're pretty backward and forward on tires right now. I'm not sure exactly which tires I'm going to run. More of a hard pack tire or more of a like soft terrain mud tire, because yesterday the track was really hard packed, so it's a lot of decision. The big decision is just whether or not to stick with that more of a hard pack tire for the roots and the slippery ground, or go something with a taller, softer knob for the potential to be ruts and mud holes and stuff on the track. So I'm not sure exactly what it's going to do yet. So, I mean, we know there's going to be a lot of water, but we don't know how it's going to actually break down yet.
All right, Johnny, hey, the stage is set. You've heard from Johnny and I. You've heard a rider's perspective. Now we want to see what this race course is going to look like today. We're going to throw it down to Jared Bolton with the Yamaha track description.
Well, thank you, and here we are in Georgia. Quick turnaround from last week in Florida, and polar opposite racetracks. You know, last week we're in the deep, whooped out, rough, nasty sand. This week, you'd think we're in the hardwoods of Georgia in the red clay. You see that red clay behind me, but there's been some changes here. We've been coming here to Aonia Pass for a long time. It's always been thick woods, lots of trails to choose from, real flowy, kind of open in places, kind of tight in places. Well, since we've been here last, there's been a good bit of logging done. The folks who operate the motocross track actually differ from the folks who own the property. And the property owners went in, did some logging. Select cut, of course. It's not clear cut, so there's still woods out there, just a little more open than they've been in the past. The track crew worked really, really hard this week. A lot of spaces where the track's divided, a lot of that white twine out there to divide the spaces of the racetrack, lots of tape. Really slow things down, make it a little more twisty through these sections of open woods now. But it's still what you expect in Georgia. Really twisty. I can't call it tight, but it's a little more technical trail than what you'd expect through an open clear-cut area. And there's still some places of good hardwoods here and there. This is still a really great racetrack. And while this year ain't going to be the best, in a couple years, all that undergrowth's going to come back. When we're here in the future, things are going to be really, really awesome. This is like starting all over with somewhere brand new. And in 3 years' time, this is going to be a phenomenal racetrack. This year's pretty good, and we just have to wait it out, and it's just going to get better from here. That's this weekend's track description.
Thanks, Jared, for a little insight into what these riders are going to be facing out here today on that track. We're going to let Mikey get on his way down to the starting line to call the starts for you, and we're going to check out a word from our sponsors.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
And the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, all right, all right. We are just about ready to set things off here at the Specialized General GNCC. And with that, we say hello to those watching live at home on RacerTV.com. Oh, if you're just tuning in, buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a wild one here today as we are playing in the mud. Just how we like it. So here we go. We are ready for our pro rider introductions. Big John talking to him. You ready? Okay, there you are. I was looking for you. Rolling to the line first. Oh, tied for the points lead. The 5-3-0 out of Connecticut on an FMF factory KTM, Ben Kelly. Riding to the line next. Again, tied for the points lead. The 5-1-4 out of Hodges, South Carolina on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM, Stu Baylor. Riding to the line next, the 2-1-2 out of Duval, Washington, aboard an Am-Pro Yamaha, Ricky Russell. Riding to the line next, the 3-4-2 out of Morgantown, Pennsylvania, on a Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Greg DeLong. Riding to the line next, your defending 2022 national champion out of Livingston, Tennessee, on a Magna One Motorsports Husqvarna, Jordan Ashburn. Rolling to the line next, the 3-1-4 out of South Carolina on a Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki, Grant Baylor. Riding to the line next, the 989 out of Williamstown, West Virginia on a Coastal Racing Factory Gas, Bad Duval. Riding to the line next on a number 17 out of Denver, North Carolina, aboard the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki, Josh Strang. Riding to the line next on the number 407 out of Pennsylvania on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC Teely Energy KTM, Ben Nelco. Riding to the line next, the 5-2-3 aboard the Gas, Lane Michael. Riding to the line next on the 739 out of Morganton, North Carolina, aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna, Trevor Bollinger. And riding to the line, last but certainly not least, the 969 FMF Factory KTM, Johnny Gerard. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting row for the XC1 Open Pro class here at this specialized general GNCC. And as our riders make their way down to the start line, all attention now turns to DJ Judd as he jumps in the RMAX 1000, and we ask DJ Judd, remove the meat. Gotta roll the R. Makes it fancy. All right, DJ Judd up into the Monster Energy Activation Transport. No problem. No problem for DJ Judd. He has it dialed, baby. He's got it dialed, and we are just about ready to go now. As our riders on row number 1, row number 2, the XC2 class, the FMF XC3, all prepare themselves to go duke it out in the mud. For those wondering on RacerTV.com, are we running an abbreviated race? No. Full send, 3 hours, GNCC in the mud. Gonna have ourselves a nice little party here at Aonia Pass in Washington, Georgia, as Ricky Towery now looks down at the watch. He will look at row number 1. 1 minute! 1 minute!
Until we are ready to go General GNCC Racing. And Ricky now goes through the motions. Make sure he is dialed and ready. The man is methodical. Second to none, Ricky Towery. And the blue flag goes up. Shut him down, shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. As we are just about ready to roll now here at the Specialized General GNCC. And as we prepare ourselves, I got to ask you, Georgia, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? That's pretty good. But I'm going to ask you one more time. Hey, you sucked it up. You're bracing it in the mud, in the rain with us. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and they're off. How about this? Last second. Oh, the 342 at Craig DeLong. He's got it. Grabs the whole shot, an early lead. Might make a note there, Stu Baylor. The bike was late to him. No time to panic. He just gets on it. We'll keep our eyes on that. The XC2 250 Pro class now. Ryder Lafferty. What a hot start for him. We're ready to roll in 10 seconds. Rui Barbosa, Gus Reardon, Bubs, Tasha, Lyndon Snodgrass, Liam Draper, Brody Johnson, Mike Wachowski, Jesse Ansley, Evan Smith, Mason Simmons, Alexandra Gorgon, Grant Davis, Jonathan Johnson, and Cody Barnes. The 3-4-7 of Evan Smith. Grabs the whole shot, but man, does he have company. It's a tight one. Here we go, FMF XC3. LoJack Cycle Sales whole shot up for grabs. Toby Cleveland, Van Goslin, Dakota DeVore, Sawyer Karatura. 10 seconds. Jason Liscombe, Jack Walker, Zach Hayes, Joe Shriver, and Jake Froman. Buzz, buzz, here come the 125s around turn number 1 as the 125s jockey for position. The rider goes down. It's going to be the 707 of Jason Liscombe. The man used to be a whole shot machine. Picks up where he left off. Here we go, Open A with a 213. Got some time to make up there. Open A, Dylan Dela Cruz, Ezra Prine, Huck Jenkins in 10 seconds. Samuel Evans, Drew Calloway, Zach Murphy, Zachary Davidson, Austin Hovatter, Russell Smith, Jeremiah Lanther, Hunter Bush, Anna Whipple, Chase Colville, Chance Malin, Wyatt Maddock, Johnny Fleming, Adam Lewis. Boy, I did not catch that one. Open A, organized chaos there, 250A. Ranger Emmons, Cooper Jones, Tyler Palmer, Jason Tino, Joe Goulet, Gavin Simon. 10 seconds. Bolton B. Roth, Alex Luger, Will Siebenpiper, Mitchell Owenby, Dominic Morris, Seth Bevington, Nathan Delaney, Jason Brunning, Lane Smith, Benjamin Watchup, Braden Nolet, Mike DeLosa, Justin Snipes, Cole Whitmer, Lane Whitmer, Tristan Landrum, and Jesse Zimbel. That was Cole Whitmer, the 518. The 518 of Cole Whitmer grabbing a whole shot in the early lead there. 4-stroke A-Lights next. Levi Elliott, Ryan Piper, 10 seconds. Matthew Hollenbeck, Cameron Madison, Caleb Baltimore, Caleb Lane, Colton Shields, Wade Tugger, T-Rex, Nick DeFeo, Garrett Mundy, Ty Ely, Ash Brewer, John Wood, Justin Brazower, Gavin Siebenpiper, TJ Gold. Oh, the 62 of Caleb Baltimore takes it away from T-Rex Nick DeFeo right there. But a good fight nonetheless. Junior A, 25 plus now. Adam Machinsky, Sam Shaver, Benjamin Fricks, Mike Woodman, Jeremy Buck. 10 seconds. Gregory Funk, Keith Holtclaws, Andrew France, Justin Leonard, Ted Mullins, Aaron Higgins, Thomas Caldwell, Tyler Brunton, Matthew Modick, Andrew Boggs, and Braden Moore. Woo, get a little sideways. The 172 of Sam Shaver. Good job, Sambo. 150A. 150A, the 222 of Peyton Harden. We are ready to roll in 10 seconds. 224 of Michael Andolfi, David Johnson, Walker Morris, James Howard, Thor Powell, and Colin Anderson. Thor Powell out front. Can he hang on to it, though? Oh, he's going to get challenged. No, it's going to be the 2. Was that the 222 of Peyton Harden? Took it right away from him. Vet A, 30 pluck. 10 seconds. Vet A, 30 plus. Mike Carrasco, Miguel Gomes, Ryan Lojak, Michael Funk, Daniel Sims, Kevin Depew, and Thomas Burdakovic. Oh, look at the 301. Good drive right there, but it's going to go to the 408 of Daniel Sims out of Greencastle, Indiana, on that Dreyer Motorsports back ride. Here we go, Senior A, 40 plus. Joe in 10 seconds. Joe Marsh, Frank Messina, Cody Hosta, Joshua Wyatt, Vinny Tomich, Augustino DeSalza, Jesse Arsenault, Stephen Meacham, Robert Johnson, Joe Dean, Chris Oiz, Joe Stoltz, Larry Sylvia, and Darren Darmos. That's going to be the 724 of Joel Stoltz out of Union City, Pennsylvania, aboard a KTM, grabbing that whole shot and early lead as we turn our attention now to the Open B. Dylan Fleming, Chandler Taylor, Isaac Brunty, Andrew Potes, Jet Leatherwood, and 10 seconds. Matthew Harris, Arton Shelley, Franklin Vodovich, Zachary Irwin, Cameron McCoy, Lane Morrison, Anthony Oplinger, Colton Coons, Taylor Myers, Jacob Maynard, and Nate Garrison. 205 out front. That's the 403 on the helmet. That's going to be Cameron McCoy out of Petersburg, Illinois, on a Sunstar backed ride. Here we go, 250P. Ty Atkinson, 10 seconds. Robert Wise, Rivers Morris, Brain Koft, Andrew Adams, Braden Lewis, Brady Robbins, Dakota Lakowski, Devin Moore, Braden Sylvester, Lucas Rubenstein, Zachary Brazo, Gavin Guthrie, Connor Carey, and Logan Pellegrini. Oh, that's a big one. How about that? The 4.64. Braden Sylvester out of Washington, West Virginia on the KTM. 4-stroke P lights in 10 seconds. Rayleigh Messer, Clayton Robbins, Bailey Flynn, Hucker Barone, Alec Carlin, Dalton Robbins, Jordan Miller, Dylan Miller, Eddie Kelly III, Brooke Belsole, Drew Hoffman, Griffin Coleman, Preston Noyes, Keenan Rupp, Andrew Seegers, Randall Zierden. And here we go, the 536 with a good drive up the inside, and he'll hang on to it. That's Andrew Seegers on that Seegers Racing Bex Cowie out of South Carolina. Here we go with the Junior B, 25 plus, Trenton Madison, Josh Bowling, Devin Hall, 10 seconds. Torrin Borkland, Corey King, Leroy Petrie, Ty Roberts, Douglas Randolph, Dylan Davis, Aaron Waldrop, Luke Hendrickson, and Billy Saliga. Here we go. Everybody got them on two wheels. The 6-1-2 of Dylan Davis on the KTM out of Ohio. We turn our attention. Oh, a couple riders going down there in turn one. Ricky Towery's got them sorted out. Don't even worry about it. The man is Johnny on the spot. Here we go. 150B. Kayla Montgomery, Gavin Hampton. 10 seconds. Zachary Friedman, Noah McGraw, Brian Manus, Malcolm Smith, Caden Childers, and Garrett McLaughlin. That's a number 9 machine out front. Well, it was for the moment. Throw it out the window, the 525, but out of nowhere is the 444 and Noah McGraw. Out of Woodruff, South Carolina on the Husqvarna, grabbing the whole shot and the early lead. That B 30 plus coming up next. Adam Odell, Sasha Jurek, Scott Hopper, Ryan Tucker, Joseph Reimer, Zachary Taylor. 10 seconds. Lucas Barcios, Thornton's Roth, Tasso Dorade, Matt Pinto, Daniel Zortman, Juan Lozada, Christopher Martin, Philip Phillips, Ricky Stanley, Michael Movich, Doug Hughes, David Rutter Jr., and Sean Natasi. Oh, yeah, three-way battle now. There we go. The 366 sets himself apart. That's Matt Pinto out of Grissonville, North Carolina, aboard the Honda, making it happen. A little chaos there in the first turn. Trying. All right, Senior B, 40 plus. 10 seconds. George Klines, Larry Hopper, Martin Fortier, Robert Overstreet, Brendan Black, and Leon Whittaker. Last row. Jockeying for position through the first turn. Can we all keep on two wheels? We can. And we will. And there goes the 122 of George Klines out of Medina, Ohio, aboard the Honda with the whole shot and the early lead. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your start here in the Specialized General GNCC. We're going to take a short break. We're going to get a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, more from the Specialized General.
Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall, I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
GNCC Racing is brought to you by Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 2023 Specialized General GNCC. This is the third round of the Grand National Cross Country Championship, and it's one for the ages. My name is Jackson Burrell, and I'm alongside Zach Heron. Johnny G will be with us soon, and of course, that was Mr. Mikey Waynes with the 10-second calls. Stay tuned as Zach takes us through the start recap.
Yeah, thanks, Jackson. If you guys are with us or been with us for the last few minutes, you saw some beautiful shots here in Washington, Georgia from yesterday, but a different story here today as the rain has fallen. We take a look at the Specialized start recap, starting off with that XC1 Pro class and a familiar face coming out front, regardless of the conditions. When the green flag came up, they all went barreling into turn number one. A little bit of drama there with Stu Baylor. We'll get to that in just a second. We thought it was going to be Jordan Ashburn, but it was the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna grabbing the whole shot. Craig DeLong once again doing it. Stu Baylor coming around in about third place there. Stu was riding a two-stroke in opening ceremony. Some of you guys may have seen that. His race bike was late to the line, but does not seem to be a problem for Stu Baylor so far. We look at the XC2 class. And once again, a familiar face up front. It is going to be the Liqui Beta coming into turn number one, the 347 of Evan Smith, able to grab the whole shot. We get probably the best look we'll get at the bikes all race long. definitely going to be a muddy one there. But the Liquid Moly Beta grabs the whole shot in the XC2. And then last but certainly not least, that XC3 125 Pro-Am. Toby Cleveland has been pretty much unstoppable so far there in the class. But he's also grabbed both whole shots so far. But it is a different story today as the 707 of Jason Liscombe going to grab the whole shot here for round number 3. So we're starting things off a little different in the 125 class. See if they end differently. That is your Specialized start recap. And like I said, Stu Baylor's bike late coming to the line, a little bit of drama there at the last second, but we have just gotten word that the 514, regardless of the adversity, has taken over the lead. We're going to look at the Yamaha track map real quick. Like we said, very different than our broadcast yesterday. The rain has fallen. Our poor youth riders were going through it this morning. So Jackson, this track going to be very different than what we saw yesterday with the ATVs.
Most definitely, Zach. It has been a morning so far already with the mud. Things have really changed out throughout this morning. You know, it pouring the rain just about the time that our first race went out on the track. So it's going to be a good race for them. It looks like it's going to be a fun race in my opinion. I'm excited to see what the boys can do out here on this muddy conditions.
And as we pull up the Yamaha live drone, the drone action still going out here regardless of the weather, or at least for right now. As you can see, I believe that is our leader we're on site with at the top of your screen, Stu Baylor, getting it done right now on the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Tele Energy KTM. And it does look to be, I think that is one of the Rockstar Huskies sitting in second. Might be your whole shot winner, Craig DeLong. Still running in that second place spot. Johnny G now joining us here in the booth. Johnny, you were down at the start. What was going on there with Stu Baylor and the KTM team?
So just at the last minute before the riders got called to the starting line, Stu shows up last minute on a 300 two-stroke with some Enduro number plates on it, obviously a borrowed bike, screaming about needing duct tape. They were trying to get the airbox taped up, obviously a bike issue. He was not able to bring his race machine to the start. As they called the riders up, they were sitting waiting. Just as the 10-second call was about to come through, Stu's mechanic comes ripping down the road on his bike. They made the swap, all completely legal until the race starts. You know, that bike, the bike of choice can be, the minute they drop the green flag, that's when the bike of record is recorded. He's all good per the rules. He started on the bike. As long as he finishes on that same bike, there'll be no issue with that. But obviously something went on there back at the semi, some issues with the machine. Either couldn't get it prepped quite the way they wanted for the mud, or some type of a mechanical issue that prevented them from bringing that bike to the starting line originally.
It almost seems like this stress has fired Stu up as he came off third on the gate. Now he's all the way up to first.
Well, there's no question he was fired up. On the starting line, there was a lot of things being said. He was loud, boisterous, you know, trying to
Stu Baylor?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, no, but like you said, Jackson, I mean, it could have been just enough to get that adrenaline pumping, get him up, get that heart rate up, and get him rolling. Looks like we have Ben Kelly there on screen running in the number 3 spot. And if we can get ahead there. Oh, actually, sorry, that was Ben Kelly. No, that's Ben Kelly, and that was Johnny Gerard behind him. So again, those guys in formation. Just in front of them, that looks to be Jordan Ashburn in front of Ben Kelly on the number 1 Magna 1 Motorsports Husqvarna. Just ahead of them is Josh Strang on the number 17 Kawasaki. Just ahead of them looks to be the 342 of Craig DeLong. So sorry, I missed a couple riders. That's 2, 3, and 4 on screen with Stu Baylor out front in the number 1 position here early on in this Specialized General GNCC. And I got to tell you guys, this track actually looks in a lot better condition than what I was expecting. Here's one thing: the rain has now stopped, which is going to make some of the track better. We're going to see some traction pop up. You know, see guys being able to push the pace more. You can see Stu really sinking it in that rut there, losing a little bit of time, giving back some of that gap he had built up. But you can see him really taking their time, making sure they cross over, miss the deep water, because that's what they're contending with right now. The water is just so deep. When you drop it in like Stu just did there, you're taking a chance on sucking all that water in through the air filter. And we saw back in 2021, that was kind of the defining moment for Stu at the Ironman GNCC that cost him the championship.
One rider that I am not seeing at the moment is the AmPro Yamaha of Ricky Russell. I believe he came together with Jordan Ashburn there in the first turn. I didn't see if he went down or not, but so far not seeing the Yamaha rider coming off of a 4th place finish there in Florida.
It looked like all of the XC1 guys made it through. You know, there was definitely some contact, but I didn't see any of them actually laying on the ground. Not saying it wasn't possible. Now we did see, I heard you calling the start replays. Toby Cleveland goes down, last rider way behind the XC3 class and having some goggle issues as he got up. So we may see the first chink in the armor of the world's fastest 125 rider, Toby Cleveland. We'll see how he's able. He might might be able to just march right through the pack. But, hey, let's talk about Josh Strang. Up here running in a top 3 position. Haven't seen that yet this year. Josh has a lot of experience, one of the elder statesmen in that XC1 class, and we've seen him do incredibly well in mud races before. As we're getting pretty close here to the end of the lap already. Now, keeping in mind, they do start, it's not a complete lap from where they start from. It'll be a little bit shorter lap. But these guys are getting ready to check in for, you guys can't see it on air, but I'm doing the air quotes, lap number 1 complete. It will not be a full complete lap, but it will count. We will hopefully get some scoring. One question we have, Stu Baylor obviously going to line on that 350cc machine, or starting on that. We don't know if his transponder was on the bike that he was planning on racing, or if it was on the bike that he is now racing, or what the situation is there. So don't panic if you don't see Stu Baylor on the live scoring. They'll enter him in manually. We'll wait and see if he does pop up once we start getting the tallies coming through here in just about another 2 minutes.
So right now, that Rockstar Husky, Craig DeLong, trying to do exactly what he did last week, really seems to have the starts figured out. As he was
look at this. Stu Baylor is absolutely buried there and has lost the point position, buried in that rut. New leader, Craig DeLong. Stu Baylor buried, still trying to get that machine out, pushing, shoving. Oh, that's a lot of water he took on there. Looking like he dropped back behind
I believe to 6th place.
Yeah, 6th place.
I didn't even recognize that was Stu in there.
Well,
he was almost hidden in the bottom.
We got somebody else.
Another rider down. That looks to be Ricky Russell.
Yeah, there he is.
Ricky Russell is down. He made it up, still ahead of Stu there in 5th or 6th. Again, well, things are happening here quickly, but it looks to be that is 5th and 6th on screen. There we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did we lose another one? Oh, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, they're hiding behind the trees there. So we think it's the 342 Rockstar Husqvarna of Craig DeLong out front. That would move Jordan Ashburn up to P3. It looks like, nope. So now it's,
I believe, Strang in second.
2, and then Ashburn in 3. Ben Kelly in 4 is how they should be. There's Ashburn in 3. And there is Ben Kelly in 4. So your top 4 on screen. Next up, it should be the 212 Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell, and then the 514 Teely Energy Racing Rocky Mountain KTM of Stu Baylor.
You talked about the number 17 kind of being one of the classmen elders, if you will. Your number 17 for the number 17. I saw him post on Instagram earlier today. He said this reminded him of a race, I guess, in 2014, I believe is what he posted.
Yes, 2014 here was one of the wettest GNCCs in history. It was crazy. We saw bikes absolutely just buried up to their gas tanks the whole way around. Now we see him coming into Pro Row here and outstretching his legs out front is the 342 of Craig DeLong. Familiar face, leading. We saw him here in Florida pull out to an early lead, kind of pull a gap on these guys. Man, I think it's going to be a little harder to pull a gap today.
Well, and it seems like he's just getting more and more comfortable up at the front, able to fight a little bit harder, a little bit longer. Only a matter of time before the Rockstar Husky rider is able to put it together and bring home an overall win.
Absolutely. He's been so close so many times. Could today be the day? Jordan Ashburn having a dog paddle through there. And you guys are new additions this year, so you don't know. Every time it gets muddy, we got to talk about how Jordan Ashburn likes the mud, because he absolutely does love the mud, does very well in it. And we need to just kind of keep an eye on him throughout the day, because you can never count a guy like him out. Another elder statesman of the class, so much experience. All of these guys have the ability to ride well in the mud and pick good lines. It almost just becomes the guys that remain cool-headed, calm, collected, don't rush into things. Those are the guys that come out on top on a day like today.
Guys, I have to say, I feel like Josh Strang is a good candidate in that second place there. I've personally been at the track and watched Josh. Josh was the only person at the track that rode all day. He never stopped the entire time through the mud, and he looked very good that day. So I'm sure he's going to carry that over into today.
Yeah, Josh has a lot of experience in the mud, and he just seems to be in a good place the last couple of years, really having fun. And, attitude and mindset coming into a mud race is key, and he knows that if he just, some of the guys are probably sitting around and saying, man, this rain, it's just ruined a good track, this, that, and the other thing. It's hard to go out and give your best effort when you're thinking like that. So a guy like Strang knows, hey, it's it might be a brutal track, it might be tough, but it's going to be the same for everybody. And if I just have a good attitude about it, stay calm, make good decisions, good things will happen for me today. So we'll keep an eye on him for sure.
Now, we've talked about the rider preparation for a mud race. Let's talk about the bike preparation. What are some of the biggest things that you see these factory teams doing to try to get the bikes as prepared as possible for conditions like this?
Well, conditions like today are especially challenging because it's as much water as it is mud. All of the ruts are completely full of water, so every time a bike charges in there, they're splashing water up, and they leave themselves susceptible to sucking water in through the airbox. And that's the worst thing. That's the thing they're trying to avoid. So you'll see they'll put foam anywhere that they can to deflect the water, and then they'll try to seal up any of the cracks around the airbox with duct tape, anything that they can to still let air in so the engine can breathe, but at the same time they're trying to deflect the water and make it run out the bottom of the airbox rather than up into the airbox and air filter. Once you get a waterlogged air filter, that bike's going to run and blubber like absolute garbage, if it'll even stay running at all. And we see Jordan Ashburn in that 3 spot. Ben Kelly in 4, starting to get some pressure from behind from the 212 of Ricky Russell, another rider who excels in in difficult conditions like this. It's it looks like he started put a little bit of pressure on Ben, and now he is pushed up to the rear of Jordan Ashburn, the #1 Magnum Motorsports Husqvarna. And you can see it looks like they're communicating. They're trying to tell the guys something. There is the Magnum 1 pits. No stops right now. Ben Kelly trying to get a drive, trying to make the pass. He's same thing. Turned over, said something to his pits, pulled some fresh optics there, getting some roll-offs on a day like today. One thing that really surprised me, guys, I saw a couple guys on the starting line with tear-offs. On a day like today, it just baffles me that anybody would make that decision, with this level of experience. There we see Ricky Russell looking like he may have actually taken a towel from his from one of the mechanics there, probably to try and dry those grips off and get a little bit better grip on the handlebars. But that's really about it. They're trying to keep water out of the bikes as far as bike prep, and then also you see a lot of the guys are running extensions on their handguards just to try to keep a little more of the wind and the water. It is cold out there too today, guys. I just rode my bicycle over here from the start, and I got to tell you, my fingertips are freezing.
Yeah, absolutely. You see a lot of the foam. I also saw it looked like several of them putting almost goggle lenses on the end of their helmet visors as well, try to extend those. So all kinds of creativity, all kinds of preparation involved in a race like this. We see Jordan Ashburn on screen right now, the Yamaha live drone, really showing just how chewed up this Washington, Georgia course is. Very different style of chewed up than what we saw yesterday with the ATVs.
Most definitely. Man, I've got to say how lucky we are that we have this drone today. I really didn't think we were going to be able to with all the rain that we've had, but it's turned out. I saw them fire it up right before they started.
Yeah, we've had so much good feedback on social media, via text message. I just keep getting, comments from people like, man, this is so awesome for us to be able to follow the racing action at home. So, folks, if you're home and you're watching this, shout out to our drone operator and the entire crew here behind the scenes at Racer TV. These guys are working so hard to try and bring this footage to you. Tell all your friends about it. It's only just getting better and better each round, and it brings you action like this where you can see your leader on screen, Craig DeLong, the 342 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Then just behind him, the Monster Energy Babbitt's Online Kawasaki of Josh Strang, the number 17, with an excellent ride. Jordan Ashburn there in 3rd. Ben Kelly, your co-points leader, in 4th. And you can see right there, Jordan Ashburn drops onto that rut, almost comes to a stop. Now he's trying to sneak around the inside, gets a little squirrely. Ben going around the outside, and contact is made. Ben Kelly makes the pass, but Ashburn tries to run it back up the inside. Ben Kelly up to P3.
Thought Ashburn was going to step off of that thing for a second, but I believe Stu Baylor now starting to catch up to the back as well. So
he's made the pass on Ricky Russell.
Yeah, Stu kind of came out of nowhere there, and then all of a sudden was all over the back wheel of the Husqvarna machine. So after getting the early lead and then having a bit of a get off, getting stuck in, I don't know if that was a mud hole or just a puddle or what.
What happens is, you get a deep rut formed during the morning race. All the water gets pushed out of it. It's just a big, deep rut. Then during the lull in racing, when there's no action, the water from everywhere around runs in, fills in that rut. You can't see it. You think you're just riding into a puddle. Here you're running into a foot-peg deep rut, and looked like he just got that bike stuck. We saw him actually having to stand it up on the rear wheel and kind of use his strength to push the bike physically up out of the rut.
Johnny, that's one thing we talked about earlier, was how they fill back in. Even sometimes just in between the laps, they'll get filled back in. I think it would be an advantage if you're close to somebody like that. That's a tremendous advantage to see where they go, get that water cleared out, and get in that same line.
Well, you're exactly right, Jackson, and it's an advantage in multiple ways, because when the line works, you get to see it, and you know to take that line. When the line doesn't work, hey, your odds have just increased exponentially. If there's 4 ruts, you got 2 guys in front of you and 2 guys get stuck, hey, you've taken 2 bad ruts out of the equation. Now you got to just pick between 2. It's almost an advantage to be a little bit back on a day like today and let somebody else do the leading. But Craig DeLong making it look, oh, look at this. We got a pass for 4th place now. Stu Baylor up to 4th and around Jordan Ashburn. Jordan Ashburn having a little bit of difficulties and struggles here, but still very much in this battle. Just doesn't look his normal Jordan Ashburn self as far as how comfortable he normally is. His feet up on the pegs. He seems like he's struggling a little bit to find traction right now, but I'm sure he'll settle into his rhythm, and we'll see him up here battling throughout the race.
Well, and Johnny, you touched on it a little bit earlier. Obviously, the ground very saturated. We see the standing water on course. But as this race develops, these lines are going to start to hold formation. All these crossing over lines and stuff like that, it's going to become more and more crucial to pick the right line. You actually see a lot of them jumping off of the main course in general and cutting through some of the trees around some of the stumps as well to try to find fresh real estate.
Absolutely, and that was one of the things we talked about before this race got started is, you know, in the past, there's Ricky Russell there still in 6th. Now it looks to be Johnny Gerard in 7th. Hard to tell who that was in 8th. Oh, wow, look at that. Grant Davis, an XC2 rider, up to 9th physically, putting him definitely in the overall. If we look and we get Mikey Waynes in here, because he's the only one that knows how to run the live scoring, I think we have an XC2 overall leader, and it may have been another XC2 rider in front of Grant Davis. Let's look here. Evan Smith, your overall leader as they run P1 in the XC2. Oh, look at this. The top 8 overall as they run all XC2 riders. Evan Smith, Jonathan Johnson, Grant Davis, Jesse Ansley, Cody Barnes, Angus Riord, Rui Barbosa, Mason Simmons. Top 8 overall, all XC2 Pro Lights riders. Craig DeLong in the P9 OA as they run here from the XC1 Pro class, but he is the physical leader on course. Folks, this is exciting. We'll watch this develop, but let me explain something to you. This is how it goes on a day like today. These XC1 guys are out front. They're having to set the pace. They're finding all the holes. They've got that experience. They know not to swamp their bike out. Not saying that these XC2 guys are doing anything wrong, but they've got these kind of these guys out paving the way for them. The track's a little bit more established by the time they get there. They can see these guys ahead of them, and it's a big advantage. Likely that we will see this correct itself in the coming laps. That said, still very impressive for Evan Smith and Jonathan Johnson. Hey, 2 factory betas, 1-2 overall. We have said that exactly never in GNCC before today. So factory beta, your guys are out there killing it. If you're a beta fan at home, you ride a beta yourself. Stay glued to Racer TV, because we're going to keep the action coming to you. Right now, those 2 guys both on 250cc 2-strokes. So you've got 2 strokes, 1 and 2 OA, and it's Evan Smith and Jonathan Johnson, followed by the rookie Grant Davis on that Trail Jesters KTM in 3rd.
Checking back on screen, we've got the FMF Red Bull KTM of Ben Kelly at the top of your, well, not at the exact top of your screen, kind of right in the middle. I think that's Stu Baylor just behind him. And Stu applying pressure hard to the back of Ben Kelly. Ben, we haven't seen him really, I feel like, dropping the hammer yet. Kind of just riding consistently so far, letting the race come to him, which seems pretty par for the course for your co-points leader. And that's something else we're talking about. You heard a lot in the beginning of the season. I just want to get through Big Buck healthy. I just want to get through the sands of Florida. Now it's round 3. Obviously, this one kind of a little bit of, I feel like, more of a spectacle than initially expected with the mud. But Johnny, does the championship start to come into play here at round 3?
Yeah, it really does. We talked about it a little bit in the show opener. I mean, Florida's a one-off race. It's the only time each year that we race in the sands of Florida. The conditions are so different. Big bucks, so much hype coming in. You know, it's kind of hard for everybody to get into their rhythm. Everybody's so hyped up about the championship, the new season. This is normally where the rubber starts to meet the road. But on a day like today, I mean, I think you're almost going to have to take this one and throw it out the window. Not in the sense that it doesn't count. Of course it does. Look at this. 2 lines coming out. Ben Kelly getting some pressure there from Stu Baylor. But this isn't going to be a normal Georgia GNCC. I mean, oh, look at this. Now around the outside, Jordan Ashburn making the pass. Stu Baylor taking that inside line, sinking it again. So just when we think Jordan Ashburn starting to maybe lose the pace a little bit, like a rocket around Stu Baylor, around the outside, up to P4, and very nearly to the rear of Ben Kelly in just one move out in the field. Hard on the hammer now. Jordan Ashburn really starting to show those mud skills we talk about so often.
Stu's clearly working to try to find some alternative lines. Yeah, now catching up to Josh Strang there just at the top. So Ben Kelly putting the pressure on, trying to catch up to the back of the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki.
And what we saw there, Josh Strang was starting that bike up, so obviously stalled it. You know, these guys are playing a dangerous game here of throttle control with the clutch. You know, you don't want to just be dumping the clutch, but what happens a lot of times, you get a little too close to the edge there, get a little traction you weren't anticipating, and that bike will just cough out and stall. So we're going to see these starters will be put to the, oh, look at that, Ben Kelly getting wide, leaving the door open and closing it just in front of Jordan Ashburn. So that's the battle to watch right there, with Stu Baylor giving heavy pressure from behind.
Yeah, seems like somebody has lit a flame under Jordan Ashburn as he is really riding aggressively and putting the pressure on, got around Stu Baylor there and is trying to do the same here. We kind of lost him there in the trees for a second. I think he actually might have gotten caught up in that corner.
So there we see Craig DeLong out front. Josh Strang, P2, and sorting itself out is still Ben Kelly on the 530 machine in third. One thing I don't think we'll see a lot of, you mentioned, you know, Zach, dropping the hammer. I think today's going to be more of kind of walking a tightrope kind of a race. Nobody, I mean, sure, there'll be guys that are kind of putting a push in for a couple corners here, a couple miles there, but, you know, to go out and push the pace in conditions like this, you just exponentially increase your chances of finding the wrong line, putting yourself in a hole, watering out the bike, you know, sucking water and ending your day. These guys are very methodically picking lines at this point.
Yeah, very obviously limit mistakes. We've seen it all day long, including in that WXC class as well. It comes down to who's able to put the best overall race together, not necessarily the fastest, but the smoothest, and able to keep it on two wheels the longest, as a lot of our riders hitting the ground at least one point during the race.
Yeah, absolutely. This traction at an absolute premium out here today. I mean, you just can't find it anywhere. Now, Ricky Russell has made his way up to the rear. Now, look at this. Here comes the XC2 boys, folks. Now they're physically in touch with the leaders. This is going to be interesting to see if they can hang on to it. That looks to be Cody Barnes, possibly. I didn't see where he was in the overall. I believe Ruby Barbosa wears a hip hydration pack, so I don't think it was him. Oh, there you go, Barnes, 5 overall. So yes, that was Cody Barnes coming by there. Sorry, glanced right over top of his name, but these are a whole bunch of XC1 and XC2 guys coming through here. Kind of hard to tell from the mud on them exactly who's who, but you see your running order on screen there, and you know the running order as they were running in the XC1 class. But these guys, yeah, I mean, the water's so deep, so hard to see. They're trying to keep vision, they're trying to keep themselves moving in a good direction, and just trying to sort this thing out. Well, we're at mile 4 there. This is coming back here to the Method Alley Method race wheels, and we'll see these guys coming down through here, get another shot as they lead, see if it is still the 342 of Craig DeLong leading the way.
Johnny, let's talk about the XC2 for a second. So we saw the 99 Phoenix Racing Honda of Cody Barnes up there. You said he can physically see these XC1 guys. What's that like for somebody in the XC2 class? Got to know this is a good opportunity to show the speed.
Absolutely. I mean, all these guys, whether it be whether it be Smith, Johnson, Davis, Ansley, Barnes, Riordan, Barbosa, Simmons, you got 8 of these guys that are, at least when they checked in at scoring, that are all physically able to look up and see the leader, the physical leader, Craig DeLong, and to see that much experience in front of you, like we talked about, it's metering those expectations and understanding that, if they use those guys properly and use them kind of almost as a trail guide, as a pace car, if you will, the worst thing I think that one or multiple of these XC2 guys could do would be try to physically take the lead and push and get away from the XC1 guys, because that's when you'll end up finding that deep hole almost for certain. You'll find yourself buried. You'll find yourself sucking in water. You'll ruin your goggles. That's another thing. We've talked so much about the bike preparation. Goggles and vision are going to be key today. If you can keep goggles on your face when those around you have taken them off because they've run out of tear-offs or run out of roll-offs or got water behind the lens or whatever it may be, that gives you such a big advantage. You're just able to, just reach up, pull a little string or pull a tear off and you get a whole new field of vision, a lot of guys will say, oh, it's not worth it, and they'll just pitch their goggles. Well, you can't really chase and you can't really race without goggles because you're just constantly getting roosted, and it's just a struggle to see.
Well, and also with that, if you do it early in the race, you ditch the goggles, your entire face gets covered in mud. Then you go into a pit stop, you can't even really put another set of goggles on top of it because then you just end up with mud.
The new leader, Ben Kelly,
Ben
out
Kelly's done
530. There is Josh Strang, P2. There is Jordan Ashburn now in 3. Craig DeLong in 4. Stu Baylor 5. Ricky Russell 6. Now they're moving too fast. Hard to tell who's who there. But we do know that some of those guys are XC2 riders. You can tell by the handguards. This one here is, in fact, Cody Barnes. So there is your 4th place rider, we believe. There looks to be
Johnny Gerard, I believe.
Yep, Johnny Gerard, XC1 rider. Physically 6th in XC1. Yeah, 6th in XC1 as they were running. So we'll see when it comes through here. But now these guys have started to distance themselves. That's not 8 XC2 riders right there. So we've lost a few. They're not quite up in the pack quite as far as they were. We'll look and see if we can pick out who some of these guys are. That's an XC2 rider there. May have been Jesse Ansley. Another one of the Phoenix Hondas looks to be there. Perhaps Rui Barbosa. There is Barbosa right there, actually. There is Grant Baylor on the 314 Kawasaki. There's Lane Michael on the 523 Gas. So these are some, again, mixing up between the XC1 and XC2 guys. Things are just so tough out here at the moment. Just only 4 miles into lap number 2 and already 42 minutes into this one. So folks, this one is going to unfold quickly. It's just the pace may seem slow, but these guys are just struggling to find traction right now.
2 more names we haven't mentioned. Your defending XC2 champ, Lyndon Snodgrass, or your 2-time winner so far in 2023, Ryder Lafferty. So going to be looking for 2 of those riders.
At the completion of lap number 1, Lyndon Snodgrass all the way down in the P20 OA. So we don't see... we see Liam Draper there in 15th. Do not see Ryder Lafferty at all, even within the top 20 overall. So we'll scroll down, see if we can get that for you and see exactly where he was running in that XC2 class. But good catch there, Zach. Yeah, your points leader from XC2. All the way down in 14th place in that XC2 class, 38 seconds behind the 13th place rider, Brody Johnson. Most of those gaps up front are pretty close together, but still probably over a minute off the lead in that XC2 class as they run.
Well, it's the FMF Red Bull Racing KTM of Ben Kelly taking over the lead. We're going to grab a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back at the Specialized General GNCC.
Canati Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider's just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We started off the season good. Big buck after the last couple of years. It was one of those races where I was lining up to just finish and get points, and ended up with a win. So same thing with Florida. The last 3 years have not treated me very well at either of those. Either bike issues, injuries that sidelined me. Just haven't had good runs at either of those, and it seemed to be the first half of the year that's taken me out of the rest of the year. So getting through the first two, now it's time to put your head down, and some broken ribs down in Florida, so definitely going to be feeling that today. But part of it, I think, moving forwards, the rest of the season is just stay consistent, know who you got to beat, and know when you are beat. So today, mud, a lot of rain, it's going to change the factors quite significantly. I think there's going to be a really difficult race course in front of us. I think it actually helped this place because the dangerous conditions that were sitting out yesterday with all the stumps, I think now with the rain, it slowed the pace down enough that it's going to make the racing a little more enjoyable for me. But nonetheless, going to be a lot of sitting down, which is hard on the ribs, and we'll just have to get through it. Top 5, put points on the board, and move forward to the next one.
That might be the first time I have ever heard Stu Baylor say, it'll be nice to slow it down. But he's right.
Yeah,
he's got no choice. Nobody does.
There we have one of the, that appeared to be at least one of the XC2, I think that was Cody Barnes, one of the Phoenix Honda. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm stumbling over my words, Mikey, but here we are at the 8-mile marker, pushing these guys through here, and they're starting to break up a little bit. We had seen them all just really wheel to wheel to wheel. There is Johnny Gerard, another one of our XC1 riders. That looks to be hard to tell. Liam Draper, possibly that was. There's one of the KTMs. Could be Mason Simmons. Yeah, a little hard to pick these guys out. Maybe a little bit different at home, a little pixelated here on screen.
Yeah, a little bit.
Tough to pick out the riding styles. But we do know these are a whole bunch of XC2 guys and some XC1 guys coming through here. You see steam coming off all these bikes. The radiators are packed. These guys are doing everything they can to just keep pushing these bikes along. There was Mike Wachowski. I did recognize him. That may be Ryder Lafferty. Oh, that was Thad Duvall.
Was it Thad?
Yeah, I saw the 60 helmet. That was Thad Duvall. So Thad a good ways back, but he is a rider that excels in the mud as well. We talked about this. So many guys excel in the mud. This guy does well in the mud. All these guys have the skill set, but there's a few, to me, Mikey, there's a few guys that really stand out that have had above average results for themselves in the mud consistently. Thad Duvall is one. Jordan Ashburn is one. Josh Strang is one. Josh Strang, even in years where he really wasn't in the thick of the championship fight, he has, even the other riders will talk about, phenomenal throttle control. He's a rider that just, he can just play with that razor's edge and find traction where other guys can't. And on a day like today, that is so valuable.
Yeah, and it just seems like everybody, the mindset coming into today as the rain began to pour was, it's me against the track.
Yeah.
It's me against myself. You know, this is right. Honestly, this is where championships are won on days like this, when you either you love it or you hate it, but you embrace it. You can come out with a really good result here. Johnny, let's talk pit strategy. Do you run into the pit, slow down, let them pressure wash the thing every single time, and just kind of keep a steady pace?
I mean, if it gets to the point where the bikes are really overheating, right now we're just seeing steam coming off.
Yeah.
But these guys will know. They'll start to recognize the detonation. They'll start pushing coolant, and it won't just be steam. It'll be actual coolant being pushed out. At that point, we're seeing steam come off the engine, not steam coming out of the radiator. Steam coming out of the radiator is bad. That means that you're losing coolant. It's pushing out. It's creating, basically, each radiator cap has a certain level of pressure on it, and when you exceed that pressure, it starts to push out steam and coolant. When you see that coming out, it looks completely different than just the radiant heat from the engine itself. Is that Toby Cleveland? Nope, 545. We thought we may have had the leader in that. Did we get leader in XC3? Was Toby Cleveland able to make it back to the lead at the completion?
Sawyer Karatura, 545 Yamaha. When he checked in, we had him in second, so he might be up in the number 1 spot if he's gotten around Jason Liscombe.
I think we might have actually seen Jason Lipscomb just ahead of him.
Still looks like he's...
There was a beta. I couldn't see the number plates because they were too muddy, but the riding style looked a lot like Jason Lipscomb. So he's another Ohio boy, rides quite a bit with Thad Duvall. Good in the mud.
Good in the mud. Loves the mud. Common theme between everybody. You mentioned Thad, Strang, Ashburn, veteran rider, veteran rider, veteran rider. These guys have just had their experience with it, and they just, like you said, they always seem to excel. For those at home, this isn't quite as gnarly as Ironman 21.
No, we're not even in
hopefully, it never is.
We're not even in the same ballpark, but it is challenging for sure.
Yeah, I will say mid-morning, the thought was, I thought there's no way they're doing 3 today, 3 hours. I said this is going to be a 2 hour, and then the rain slowed up significantly to kind of a sprinkle, and I mean, things have, it's still nasty and gross, but things have shaped up, and yeah, we're going 3 hour racing, so.
Yeah, and I think, like, looking at it on screen here, like, from the drone we get to see all of it, but the sections that we're looking at here really aren't that bad. I mean, It's muddy. They're going to have some problems with vision. They're going to be getting roosted. New leader, Jordan Ashburn on screen. No goggles. We were talking about vision. There he is. P2, Craig DeLong back up. And P3, Ben Kelly. P4, Stu Baylor. P5. Oh, wait. Hold on. Now things are getting mixed up. Even I can't. There's Josh Strang. There is Evan Smith on the beta. So that's about your top 8, it looked like, as they came by there. We'll have to wait and see.
Look at all those lines. It's nuts.
There's Cody Barnes.
But when Johnny Gallagher's having trouble, we're in trouble. Because
there's Johnny Gerard. I recognized him. It's hard to tell. These guys are all brown. A little early in the season for me to know all the nuances of their, their kits and what they're wearing.
You can't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't see it. Brown guy, brown bike.
Brown guy, brown bike. Can't see number plates. Almost looks. We think it was definitely Jordan Ashburn when he came by in the lead. There he is. Okay, so that's Ashburn in front. Looks to be Ben Kelly. No, that is still Craig DeLong in P2. So as they run, you got 2 Huskies up front there. Leading the way, Jordan Ashburn, P2, Craig DeLong. P3 was Ben Kelly, P4, Stu Baylor. So those are your top 4. Ricky Russell, we know, was in the mix. Again, if you're looking at the overall unofficially there on the screen.
Don't adjust your screen.
Don't adjust your screen. We're showing the top 8 riders, XC2 riders, and that is accurate. These guys were able to make up some time, but this is the physical lead here. And these guys starting to pick up the pace a little bit, but as of right now, we got a couple XC2 guys that are still hanging. We know Evan Smith's in there. We know Cody Barnes is up close. Evan Smith was the first one that I absolutely could confirm, so we think he may still be leading. Jonathan Johnson also in the mix. I only did see 1 beta there. There we see Stu Baylor. Looks like he may have gotten around Ben Kelly, as did Ricky Russell. So there you go, change up. Ben Kelly now back to P5. No clue who is that is in 6th. I give up. But Stu Baylor has made the pass around Ben Kelly, as had Ricky Russell. So those guys moving up to P3 and 4. Ben Kelly sliding back to 5. Now moving up here, first bike on screen, Jordan Ashburn. Second one is Craig DeLong, and you can see the rut's starting to get a little bit deeper. But the good news is you're starting to see some dry-ish dirt in the middle of the track. It's not just straight slop the whole way around.
Looking good. Hey, Jordan likes some mud. He's out front. Jordan's due, man. He's been due. He's, said it himself, not real happy with the first couple of rounds, been off the box. We talk about him being Mr. Consistency. Well, what better way for Jordan Ashburn to get back in the conversation than lead a mud race? And it sounds like we've got Zach Herron standing by in the pits with a pit report.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm down here with Kevin from Teely Energy. Kevin, we saw the 514 machine come in late to the line. Can you just take us through what happened there for the start?
Yeah, we were just doing a quick shifter adjustment, and the bolt ended up snapping off in the shift shaft, and it took a hot minute to get it back out. Stu grabbed a 2-stroke, was going to run it, but we managed to get it up to the line in time.
So we've seen Stu get stuck in a couple of these inside in the bigger mud holes. Any concerns with the bike? You guys did everything you could, I'm assuming?
Yeah, the airbox is pretty sealed up for this one, being that it's so wet, and I think we'll be fine. We'll check the filter when he comes in for gas. We should be good.
A hectic start here for the Teely Energy KTM, but they think they've got it under control with a healthy start.
Well, that's a great update there from Zach. We were talking about that on the starting line. We saw it unfold. Oh, look at this. We got a bike just,
oh my goodness,
buried. Now, that may be a little bit off perspective, but it looks like it's buried right up to the handlebars, but it is very certainly at least radiator deep. So, folks, this is what can happen if you take just one bad line. It's amazing how quickly things can go sideways for you and end your day, quite frankly.
That's insane. That looks reminiscent of the finish line area, or coming out of the finish at Ironman a couple of years ago. Losing your entire bike out there. No good. No good. So, Stu Baylor, how do you feel about that, Johnny? I mean, you got no time to get nervous on the start. You're thinking one way, and then literally Johnny's down at the start watching him with me, and he nudges me on the shoulder and points, and I thought, who's coming late? It was a 514.
Well, it was his ball. Oh, look at this.
Oh.
Ashburn gets stuck. He's going to give up the lead. Craig DeLong goes by, as does Stu Baylor. So now Stu Baylor up to P2. Craig DeLong leading, but Jordan Ashburn back on the throttle. Now, keep in mind, folks, Jordan Ashburn does not have goggles on. It also appears that Stu Baylor does not either, so it's going to be tough for either of these guys to make a move on Craig DeLong unless he picks a bad line and buries it. You see him jump out of the rut there. Stu Baylor staying in, so they're getting pretty close to him, but yeah, Stu does not appear to have goggles on. So if Craig knows that, he's going to be a little heavier on the throttle and throw a little extra roost Stu's way. Craig with the way outside line. That's actually the corner where Stu got stuck last time. Jordan, again, no goggles, but pressuring Stu there. There we see Ben Kelly moving into the fray. Stu Baylor with that inside line up and over the log. Oh, no, sorry, that's Ricky Russell in P4. We did know that. He had gotten around Ben Kelly. Jordan Ashburn, look at that. There was something under the dirt there. Almost lost the front end. And that's how quickly things can change here in conditions like this.
Love that, the line choice there, like over the little log jump on the inside. We saw, I think, maybe one rider take that yesterday. We kept waiting, and especially that last lap, as exciting as that was, kept waiting for that to come into play. It didn't. Maybe it does here today, as these guys go in a little slow motion compared to what we saw out of our ATVs yesterday.
Well, are you saying ATVs are faster than dirt bikes?
No, I didn't say that. Don't put words in my mouth now.
Maybe a little disparity in the conditions. You know, things might be a little bit different today.
It's true. Megawatt Matt Watson just texted me. He was singing your praises. He said, Eagle Eye, Johnny GNCC, incredible as usual.
It's tough on a day like today, guys. I will not promise to be perfect. These are incredibly difficult conditions to ride and incredibly difficult conditions to be able to pick out riders. You just got to kind of look for the things you know about the kit they're wearing that day, what kind of handguards they have on, and their riding style. One thing that is clear, we do know that out front, it is in fact still, and again, Craig DeLong leading the way. In second place as they run, Stu Baylor. Craig DeLong goggles on. Stu Baylor, no goggles. Jordan Ashburn, P3, no goggles. Vision going to be incredibly important today. These guys are just counting the miles off until they can get to their respective pit areas and get fresh goggles, because it's so challenging. And once you get that grit in your eyes, even if you do get goggles on, you're just fighting that all day. Speaking of fighting it,
Ricky Towery is fighting it, helping some riders get through the finish line area. This could be a situation like we've seen in years past where the finish line need to be maintained or move as the race goes on.
That is insane.
So this is your leaders. That's a lapped rider who's going to pull to the side, hopefully, and let the race go through here. Craig DeLong taking an inside line, making the pass. Stu Baylor taking the main rut. Jordan Ashburn there in 3. Ricky Russell there in 4. And that's another lapped rider. And then Ben Kelly in 5. Oh, that may have been Evan Smith just behind him.
Yes, it was. Well, Strang was in there. Strang as well. So let's see. Yeah, Jonathan Johnson on adjusted time is your new leader. So Jonathan Johnson was in there. Evan Smith in the 2 spot on adjusted time. Then you got Craig 3rd, Stu 4th, 5th, Ashburn, Ricky Russell 6th, and Ben Kelly 7th with Strang checking in the 8th spot.
And we'll continue to see that develop and change as more XC2 riders check in. But that'll continue to shuffle around. We see now Mason Simmons is checked in that 10th place overall. Angus Riordan jumps up the charts there. Cody Barnes up to P6. So still, as it runs right now, Craig DeLong in P4. I believe he's not going to get jumped back any further than that. Stu Baylor Jr. in P5. OA, but those are 1 and 2. Nope, P5. It updated here.
That one, what's on TV might be a little off.
Okay.
Scoring computer says different.
All right, who we missing there?
Who's up there?
That's why we got Stanley leading the race. Well, I don't know who Stanley is, but we don't think he's leading. We'll confirm that with our official scores. But yes, that is the glitch there. So, I can
tell you the family at home screenshotting, though.
He's leading Jonathan Johnson, leading Evan Smith, leading Craig DeLong, leading Stu Baylor, Cody Barnes, and the like. So 3 XC2 riders in the top 5 overall. Pretty interesting stuff here. Again, it's starting to sort itself out. Top 8 on lap 1 were all XC2 riders. Now we're down to you've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, just 3. 4. You got 4 XC1 riders in the top 10, so 6 XC2 riders. Well,
DeLong, Baylor, Ashburn, and Russell.
Yep.
Man. It's been crazy. You called it, though. I mean, I asked Johnny during the commercial break, how long do our XC2 guys hang? He said, well, maybe start dropping off a couple 2x2, but there'll be a couple guys that can still hang in there as long as everything continues to keep working and doing well.
And let's talk about it. Factory Beta still running 1-2. They reversed the order. Last lap it was Evan Smith and Jonathan Johnson. This lap it's Jonathan Johnson and Evan Smith. So 2 seconds separating those 2 guys. Huge day here for Factory Beta if they can hang on to this for a couple more laps or all the way to the finish.
Oh, yeah.
Craig DeLong in. You can see taking fresh goggles, getting fuel. I believe we'll see everybody. Oh, Stu Baylor making all kinds of arms. He's not sure what's happening, but he is still going. And he looked to have goggles on there as well, which was odd because I was nearly certain he didn't, but I could have been mistaken. You see Craig DeLong. Stu Baylor, again, crazy arms. Not sure what was going on there. There's Ben Kelly checking in. Likely going to get a fresh set of goggles for himself. Sliding to the back of the bike. Yep, there we see the goggles. They're telling him to keep the bike running. They're working on something over there. Air filter change.
And probably, Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, precautionary.
Yeah.
Like, let's just get in. They're easier to change on the KTMs. Let's get in, get it done.
Yeah, it's they're taking a long time on this one, though. It's normally a little quicker than this. Johnny Gerard in now as well. Wow, this is a long air filter change. This is painful. He's losing a lot of time, but they're obviously doing that again as a precautionary measure, like you said, to keep him moving, keep him going, and they're focused on getting to the finish line as a way to maximize their opportunity. That looks to be... That was Jordan Ashburn really struggling. There's Ricky Russell the same. When you see guys of this caliber and this level, Craig DeLong, little shorter legs, didn't quite make it through there as well. So we have Stu Baylor out front. Looked like he didn't stop at all.
No, and looked confused by that too.
He looked to be really not certain what was going on. A lot of what the heck arms going on. So this is our second place rider, Jordan Ashburn. Just behind him, Ricky Russell. So that is 1, 2, 3. Stu Baylor, Jordan Ashburn, Ricky Russell, and then Craig DeLong in 4th. I think we got a little bit of a throwback here to just a couple moments ago when Stu Baylor was kind of motioning to his crew as we're coming through. There you see Craig DeLong getting fuel. Stu Baylor does have goggles on. Looks like he's like reaching for the gas.
Fuel.
Yeah, reaching for the cap like, hey, what's going on? Nobody's ready for him. He's not happy about it. Apparently he was He was wanting to come in and get a splash of fuel, maybe some fresh goggles as well. But there he is on screen, leading the way. And now, coming back to like we talked about yesterday, he needs to try to march away, because if these guys are able to hang with him, he's going to have to stop next lap. No way he can go more than 3 laps. We're an hour and 5 minutes into this thing, presumably running last lap 34 minutes for Jonathan Johnson, your leader. That brings him to about an hour 39 for 3 laps, well, hour 38 probably for 3 laps complete, meaning he's going to be pushing it pretty close on fuel. He definitely will not be able to complete a 4th lap. He will have to stop at the completion of lap number 3 for certain.
And not as wide open, so we're not into the throttle as much, but are you into it more in these kind of conditions? Depends on the rider.
Yes and no. I mean, you can use more fuel in the mud because the bike is heavier. You can use more fuel because you're just doing so much spinning. But again, if you're just kind of searching, trying to find traction, that's where you're more likely to save a little bit of fuel. There we see, looks like Jordan Ashburn. We saw Ricky Russell in there as well. We may have a change up, because that is definitely Stu Baylor there. Looks like we may have lost Ricky Russell from this. There's Stu Baylor. Last we knew, that was your leader. The next machine appears to be, no, that is Ricky Russell. No. Yes. Blue fender? Yes. Okay, so that is Ricky Russell, so it's actually Jordan Ashburn that we've lost. Craig DeLong appears to have moved up to the 3 spot in the last shot we had there. But these guys are shuffling positions the whole way around this track, Mikey.
Yeah, nothing decided. No one's running away and hiding today.
Oh, move for that wasn't a lapper, that was Stu Baylor.
For the lead?
No.
Was it?
No.
Oh my god.
What is happening?
Dude.
It looked to me, and then it didn't. So we're going to assume it wasn't, because that rider looked back and pulled over. Stu's a pretty good dude, but I don't think he's just going to pull over and let Ricky by for the lead.
Well, it's chaos. We know we got that much.
Let's look up here and see. There's Stu Baylor, still trucking along.
Okay.
Out front, hard to tell. Brown guy, but the brown guy out front is the 514 of Stu Baylor. And man, it's been an up and down day already. Only 2 laps complete into this one. Again, we talked about it if you missed it. Stu Baylor, troubles before the race. Zach getting that great report for us. A broken shifter bolt while trying to adjust the shifter, leading Stu Baylor to take a 300cc 2-stroke to the starting line, saying, well, we're just going to race this.
Yep.
At the last moment, his mechanic shows up there and says, okay, we're good. He hops on it, takes off on the race bike, the normal 4-stroke 350.
On the spot, Johnny, on the spot. Just got reports, sounds like this will be a 5-lap race. That is the radio chatter we are hearing, so that's what you can expect out of this one. 5 laps. It'll be a long one.
Yeah, that'll probably end up being around 235, 240.
240s?
Yeah.
All right, it's going to feel long. How about that?
Oh, it's going to feel really long.
It's going to feel really long as things continue to sort themselves out. Oh, man, look at that. Talk about making a right-hander.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just try and find some dry dirt.
Just about came to a complete stop, flipped it around, and kept going.
Interesting to see Stu, still kind of flirting with these insides. They've bit him a few times already on camera, but he just doesn't seem to want to take the long way around. He wants to stick closer to those insides. As it's not been raining now for well over an hour, we're starting to see more track dry up, and the water isn't coming back into the ruts as much. So I think these guys are starting to have a clearer view of what's what on the course, what lines are good, what lines aren't, and it's really starting to develop into more and more of a racetrack and less of an obstacle course.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even the roadway between the main property line and then the road to the starting line, we had a river running through it. Made for some interesting getting to and from the track, but all that is blown out. And, yeah, starting to develop. No chance we see dust today, but nonetheless, finally some good race lines developing for these guys. You can see it on RacerTV.com. Stu able to carry a little more speed than what we've seen here the first couple of laps.
Yeah, it really is starting to... I'm air quotes
right up. For sure.
But as long as you stay in that main race line and where the ruts aren't too deep, the dirt will dry out pretty quickly underneath. But certain sections, again, you can see a fan or potentially a crew member there pointing lines saying, hey, this is the good rut, stay out of that one. And that is very helpful on a day like today. And you can see some of these guys just really even struggling to make it through that section. Stu Baylor's really on a charge right now, trying to get away from Ricky Russell. Ricky Russell trying not to let that happen. Craig DeLong. Oh, man. Is that DeLong still? That yes, blue front fender. So that's Ricky Russell there now in P3. Craig DeLong having made the pass up into P2. That's what you get when you take things for granted. You get the camera off these guys for 2 seconds. Ricky's so good though with those long legs. That you know, he's got that that background from the Pacific Northwest. Where he does a lot of rock riding, and he just kind of steps off the side of the bike, puts his foot down, and moves himself along. So there we see Craig DeLong in P2. Going to the right there is Stu Baylor, just up there by the Yamaha Live drone box. Craig DeLong coming across the middle of your screen right now in that second place position. So that is 1-2 as they run, and Ricky Russell is your third place rider on that Ampro factory Yamaha. All right, so still on screen there is Craig DeLong, Stu Baylor, Ricky Russell. Look at these guys just fishtailing everywhere. Stu Baylor feet off the pegs, putting that picture of male fitness to work, getting some traction there. You got to get that thing over the rear end, and it's working for him so far, leading here. I'll be honest with you, Mike. He always felt, being a heavier guy, had a little bit of an advantage in the mud. You know, you can move the belly around and move your center of gravity, get a little more traction. And you know, Stu, I wouldn't say he's necessarily known as a mud rider, but a rider that can definitely find traction.
Yeah, he's grit. I mean, the guy is all heart, right? That's what we used to call him back in the day. I mean,
absolutely.
He just doesn't matter the conditions. He says, hey, mutter, broken rib, that's fine. Still going to go out there and just when we doubt this guy, you know, I mean, I've learned my lesson now to just stop doubting Stu Baylor, because I feel like every time
do you doubt him? Why do you doubt him?
Oh, you're one to talk. I mean, we've both done it.
What,
right?
doubting him how?
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't ever doubt his ability to perform on a
not
dirt
to
bike.
perform.
Okay,
just,
so what do we get? Let's talk about it.
Just the moment it's like, okay, well, Ben Kelly's going to run away with this, or Caleb back in the day, Thad. It's like anytime you begin to question him, it's like he's listening to the broadcast in his ear and he says, okay, boys, I'm going to show you.
The only thing I've ever doubted with Stu is his consistency. And it's not doubting, it's going off of
that's fair.
Factual, data, you know, and he can listen to this and be upset. He knows it. We've talked about it. Like, for Stu to put himself in position to win a championship, if he comes out and does this, does what he did at Florida, does what he did at round one, every race, boom, we're back to 2021. He's the guy. Like, he's the one everybody's chasing.
But he's got to be there.
The issue for Stu over the years, and he seems to definitely have it more figured out now, has been the injuries. It's been the off races. He's like he's like such a talent that anytime he's on, he's not only a threat to win, he's a threat to dominate.
For sure.
I mean, the guy is a phenomenal dirt bike rider. And now, you know, having a kid, a little more mature. I mean, so many things are factors.
Right.
Having the issues he did in 2020, losing his ride. You know, he just seems more focused now. So I think everyone knew coming into this season that Stu was going to be a factor for this championship, and no surprise that he has been. I think he's been kind of sorting out. Look at this, change for the lead. Craig DeLong now has taken over the lead. Stu Baylor into 2. Look at this. We lost these guys for 3 turns, and somehow we had a lead change. Ricky Russell shadowing them in 3rd. So right here on screen, what you're watching, folks, Craig DeLong, Stu Baylor, there is the Ampro Yamaha of Ricky Russell, and these are your top 3 as they run in XC1. We'll have to wait until the completion of the lap to find out if they're actually the top 3 overall. That may have actually been one of the betas right there.
I think it was.
Which could be either Jonathan Johnson or Evan Smith. They were only separated by 2 seconds, but beta 1-2 in the overall, and that looks to me to be Jordan Ashburn.
I think it is.
Question mark. Yes. Jordan Ashburn, another one of the betas, whichever one it wasn't. Wait a minute, there's another beta. There can't be 3 of them. And there is Josh Strang for certain, the number 17 machine. So that appears to be 2 betas running in formation. So not sure who we saw up there a little further. I can't imagine that another beta has thrown themselves into the mix. Could have been Cody Barnes, possibly. We'll see at the completion of this lap. Now we're seeing more XC2 guys come through. Now we'll keep an eye out if we stay on one of these shots, because Ben Kelly, a rider that will be missing until quite a bit later here, he lost a lot of time with that filter change, probably upwards of 30 seconds, so perhaps working his way into camera shot here somewhat soon. That appears to be a Kawasaki, perhaps Lyndon Snodgrass. That is Rui Barbosa.
And sounds like Jackson Burrell is standing by with the boys at the beta pits. Talk about their success so far.
Yeah, guys, I'm down here with the Liquid Modi Beta Racing team. They have 2 guys up front in the XC2. They have 1 guy leading the XC3 the last time we got to check. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we're having a good run right now. All the guys have been working really hard, and we've been looking for that breakthrough ride from all these guys. And right now, I mean, we made some tire choices to worry about the start. I knew they had to get up front, and our guys are working hard to keep the bikes going and keep the filters clean. And as long as the riders are smart and stay out of some holes, I think they should do good.
All right, guys, that's the Liquid Molly Beta team leading the XC2.
Leading the XC2 and leading the overall.
And leading the overall, yeah, on the adjusted time there. So, and physically up in the fight with your leaders. So, pretty impressive ride so far for Johnson and Smith. See if they can keep it going. Hour and 16 into it. We're looking at the FMF PowerPoint here at the 4-mile marker. And,
man. Yeah, you can tell this is what it's
grueling.
Like for the mere mortals. You know, the track's starting to look like it's really coming around for our top XC1 and XC2 riders, but for the rest of the world, it's still like they get through a section, you actually will sometimes see them stop, gather their thoughts, and it's like, okay,
I can do this.
I made it.
I did this. Man. XC1, how about Craig DeLong? He's been up there with Stu, battling between the two of them. Craig DeLong, a guy we've talked about a little bit this season, is somebody that...
leader on screen. Back to Stu Baylor.
Back to Stu.
They switched back Stu Baylor. Look at that, sideways up into the trees. And now we're going to see Ricky Russell take over, not the lead, because Stu Baylor gets going quick enough. So close. Ricky Russell up into P2. There is Craig DeLong in the 3rd spot physically overall. Let's see if we can sort out who this 4th rider is. Well, we know Jordan Ashburn was the next rider. And then after that, we had what I thought was a beta. Let me stand up here, Mikey. I'm sitting too close to the screen. I gotta get a perspective on this big 65-inch screen we're looking at here for Racer TV, and see if we can identify who this other rider is that I misfigured last time. Could be.
You think Stu's feeling those ribs after squeezing himself in between those 2 trees there?
Okay, so that is Ashburn. The next rider is that sure looks to me to be a beta. So that is definitely Ashburn right there. So that is your 4th place rider. Really hope we can get a shot of this next rider. No friggin' clue, man. I swear that's one of the betas. And then we know Josh Strang was in the mix there.
Yeah.
There is Cody Barnes for sure. Recognize him. That looked to be Grant Davis possibly, or could have been Angus Riordan. It was a Trail Jesters KTM. Both of those guys up in the mix here early. Now we see the extended front fender. That is a Honda, so could be Mike Wachowski, could be, there is Lyndon Snodgrass. No, that's another Honda.
Cody Barnes in there somewhere.
Cody Barnes, I think. There is Grant Baylor, that's for sure. 100%, that is the 314 of Grant Baylor. So he's running about in the 6th or 7th place spot in that XC1 class. Brown guy. That's all I got. That's all I got for that one. Oh, the interesting line there coming from the far side. That is for sure Grant Davis. So it wasn't Davis before, must have been Mason Simmons. That is Grant Davis. Can tell no hydration pack today, it doesn't look like, for Grant Davis. Might have pitched it already. That is a lap rider. Actually, that main line, I was going to say it didn't look too bad, but it gets deep at the end there, Mikey.
A little scary there on the end of that one. But it really puts it in perspective, though, as we watch these guys going through the FMF PowerPoint. just how difficult it is and just how skilled the XC1, XC2, XC3, all of them are. Hey, on adjusted time, Jonathan Johnson on the Beta machine out of the XC2 leads it. His teammate Evan Smith in the 2 spot. Craig DeLong, Stu Baylor duking it out front in the XC1. We'll be right back with more GNCC here on Racer TV.
In the premier form of off-road motorcycle racing in the world, it's the beginning of a new era. 17 Supercross, 11 motocross, and those 3 playoff rounds.
Super Motocross World Championship Final. Tickets on sale now. Visit supermotocross.com.
30-second card is up. We've talked all about it. We've watched practice and qualifying. We've theorized. We've bench raced. Now it is time to go. Ropes are up. Gates down. Side by side we go. Jet Lord, Justin Cooper in front of the crowd. Linger from Chase Sexton. Can anyone else get up in the mix? They have been 1-2 in the last 7 motos of this championship. Here we go. Every race, every day, in every way. Print, social, digital, video, photo. Every race, every day. Every result, every story, every rider, everything. Moto every day with Racer X.
That's Dr. Mark Tanner. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I brought Josh, who's a paramedic. So we started safety on site this year. We're going to all the GNCC races this year. We committed to the whole season. We're going to try to do some other racing venues as well. Brought a portable x-ray machine. This is our medical rig. I plan to get a toy hauler in the near future so we can have an enclosed space to take care of patients. Yeah, so the biggest benefit is we're going to try to save ER visits for all the racers. We probably saved this year about $60,000. We did some procedures, some surgeries that prevented the racer from having to go to the doctor. We did it all on site. We've got a portable x-ray machine so we can tell if it's broken almost right away. And we can do simple procedures like lacerations repairs and splinting and some reductions as well. The biggest thing, we're a nonprofit, so we're 501c3 approved. So donations, you know, we got little cards. Anybody we help, we'll give them a card. There's a QR code on it. They can go to the website and donate. So we're functioning as volunteers. All the donations are helpful to get us to the races, pay for supplies, and everything we need to do. It's like a small racing team, essentially, what we're running it like.
But what an asset those guys have been out here on the spot, man. I mean, really cool.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about it a number of times in groups and all that. It's just amazing, you know, how much sense of security you can bring to the riders, knowing that there's somebody here. Obviously, we always have medical staff on site for emergency, but this is just that next level.
Yeah,
you know,
and they know riding. Yep. They know racing.
Dr. Tanner, you know, understands racing, understands what these guys are going through, can really give them good advice on how to best treat themselves after injuries, and just is such a wealth of knowledge. Him and his team, they're really elevating the safety of the riders and just making what is obviously a dangerous sport that much safer. We've got some lap riders coming through. We'll be waiting and watching. So far, every time we've changed this camera shot, we've seen a different leader. So will it be the 514 of Stu Baylor? Will it be the 342 of Craig DeLong? Will Jordan Ashburn get up in there? Will it be Ricky Russell? You know, those are the 4 guys that are 1 through 4 right now. And then we have the question mark. We know Josh Strang up in there as well. But if you remember that last camera shot, there was definitely a gap now after the top four. Top three. They have broken away from Jordan Ashburn in the 4th place spot. Looked like if I had to, then this is just a guess off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's upwards of 30 seconds from P3, which last I remember, hard to tell, but pretty sure it was Craig DeLong. And back to, looks like we may have a rider going very fast out front. It is Stu Baylor, the number 514 machine, all alone, but not by much. It is now the 212 of Ricky Russell in second on that Ampro Yamaha, and Craig DeLong, I believe it was, there in third. And we'll see what exactly that gap is. Now, these are going to start changing because these guys are getting thick into lapped riders. These here are both riders. No, that is, no, maybe not. Yes, lapped rider. So we'll wait and watch for Jordan Ashburn. That could have been him there, hard to tell. Man, this is every time we've seen a shot, it's a shuffle back and forth between Ricky Russell, Stu Baylor, and Craig DeLong. These guys just, it's almost like nobody wants to lead.
A lot of pressure out front right now. But yeah, Stu Baylor, if you're just tuning in to Racer TV, don't forget he'll have to come in and pit this next time around. No way he can afford to, he won't make it another lap. Did not get that pit stop. And it sounds like we did get the report from Thiele.
Okay, so there is Ben Kelly on screen. He has now made it back up to one of the two betas. We may have missed one, but looking, I mean, he is a good minute plus back from the lead. Still running, I would say, at this point, solidly in a top 10 overall position, but needing to make some moves if he wants to get up in the battle here for top 5 and salvage some good points for the day. But even still moving at this point is a accomplishment for any of these guys. That is a beta there. So that was one of the two. It seems like, again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm pretty good, but I can't tell the difference from Jonathan Johnson and Evan Smith at this point. I do know that they wear different gear, so maybe if I can get a closer glimpse and a little clearer shot, I'll be able to identify it better, but a little hard from that shot. But Beta 1 and Beta 2 is what we'll call them for now, not taking anything away from their accomplishments individually, just hard to tell them apart. Jonathan Johnson was the leader last lap. Evan Smith was the leader the lap before, and man, 1-2 for the factory betas on each of the first 2 laps, not only in XC2, folks, in the overall.
To your point, Johnny, you said, not sure which of the two. It's a good problem if you're beta right now.
Yeah.
They're like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Mention them both. We're loving it.
And you gotta imagine that the team is just saying, hey, we don't play favorites at this point. This isn't like F1 where we have a number 1 and a number 2 rider or driver. You know, we want to see both these guys. We want to see them stay there. And you know, it might be our old age and cynicism that we're saying, oh, you know, these XC2 guys are going to kind of drop off one after another, and that's not an insult. It's just what we've seen historically. Yeah. But you know what? That's why they run the races. These guys could hang in there all day long and end up putting 2 betas on the podium here today. It is possible.
It would be a monumental day in GNCC history if we can make it happen. Craig DeLong, Stu Baylor. We saw Cody Barnes a moment ago. Ashburn. It is like all the riders were thrown in a Yahtzee cup, and we shook it out. And Griff Cotter, shout out to our man down in the finish line. This guy does it all. Doesn't matter. He'll put up repeater. He'll direct. He'll pull bikes out of the mud. The man's an animal. Get it. He is the GNCC Mountaineer man.
What they need. Yeah, he's shoveling. He's trying to fill him back in. Man, what? And look at this. The next guy's stuck. Same thing. And he's just like, guys, we got to do something here. He's like, hey, you know, we got leaders coming, but not only that, we need to keep this clear. Look at that. See, this is something that riders will do. You see that strap?
Tow rope.
That's something they put on for muddy races like this. So the fans can drag them through. Griff really in the middle of the action. A little bit of mud down the back.
Riley, by the way, congratulations. We get to show Griff a little love since he's on screen, got engaged. Riley, I'm sure Riley's watching back home. She's like, yes, my man's out there.
She's proud of him. Oh, no, Griff, don't stand behind the bike. Never behind the bike.
Maybe beside
Just make sure you tell that guy, hey, man, if you give this thing throttle, me and you are fighting.
We are fighting. And I don't really want to wrestle Griff Cotter. He's built like a grizzly bear.
Like you said, mountain man.
He's a mountain man. There you go. Man, this like.
Well, and let me clarify something here. Griff is doing all the work, but this is likely not the first time this guy has had to lift his bike out of a rut. He's probably so exhausted. On screen, Stu Baylor leading the way from our Yamaha live drone footage. You can see up on the pegs, carrying good speed, and leading the way here at the 10-mile marker. 2 miles to go until he will be checked in at the completion of lap number 3. Now, he is Ricky Russell, P2, coming through there, through the Monster Mile. Craig DeLong hot on his heels. Craig DeLong looking racy, looking like he tried to take an outside line to get a piece of Ricky. Look at this. Here they are, wheel to wheel. Man, Ricky's got a fresh towel hanging off his grip there, so somebody out there in the woods, some of his crew, trying to improve his ability to hang on to his handlebars, and man, that is so helpful on a day like today.
Yeah, I felt bad for the guys that would go down in the first turn there and, get the throttle side down in the mud first. It's like, oh, you're in for a long, long race. But, yeah, it makes such a huge difference. And the rain was so bad. Guys already had the towels on the hand grips right from the start, just trying to preserve them as long as possible.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We've all done that. Like, you'll be sitting on the starting line, you're trying to keep the grips dry, knowing full well that you're about to go into the first turn and just completely destroy every part of your body. You're going to be covered in mud.
It's like a mental thing.
But it is. I mean, it's nice to, at least for a little bit, kind of just have that nice, firm grasp on your grips.
Yeah.
All right, 10-mile marker. We saw the leaders come through here. Now we see Jordan Ashburn. Looks like he got some fresh goggles along the way somewhere. And behind him is Josh Strang on the number 17 machine. That looked to be Johnny Gerard, actually. It was a KTM. Nope, no clue. We're bouncing around back and forth. Can't sort it out. Great shots, though. We see all the racing
that
action.
Was good.
Folks at home, even if you can't tell who's who, enjoy this action.
Just enjoy the shots.
Because it's rare that we get to see this much action. This year, Racer TV has really stepped up the game and bringing you all of this Yamaha live drone footage, showing you the battles. And most days, we can tell who is actually battling. But what we do know, that right there is Craig DeLong. Just ahead of him, the 212 of Ricky Russell. They are physically on track. P2 and P3 leading the way out front. Stu Baylor on the 514, and there he is, just ahead of those guys. So all 3 of your top 3 physically on screen right now. We'll wait and see when they check in. Have they been able to pull out enough of a time adjustment over Jonathan Johnson and over Evan Smith to take over those top 3 positions in the overall after the time correction?
They stay on that pace for lap 2. We should see them check in with that 3rd lap completed here in just under 4 minutes. And like we were talking earlier, nobody's running away and hiding today. Just as soon as you think Stu's kind of got, and he does have a little bit of a gap up there, but don't forget, he's going to have to pit. These guys will be able to scoot around him. And you think these guys stop, Johnny? Maybe fresh goggles?
I mean, we didn't see Ricky, but Ricky has fresh goggles on, so we're assuming he pitted. I don't think we physically saw him on screen pitting, but we did see Craig DeLong. We know he pitted. It's really going to just depend on the condition of their goggles. I mean, at this point, you definitely don't want to give up an opportunity to get some towels for your grips, to get some fresh goggles if you can, but at the same time, if you have the opportunity to take over the lead, Stu Baylor's starting to stretch it out a little bit. It's not much, but it's a few bike lengths more than it was just a few turns ago. You can see here's where the game of Russian roulette comes in. Which rut do I pick? I'm going to take the safe one because that's the one Ricky took, and that's a good move by by Craig DeLong. If you can't make the pass, just take the rut of the guy in front of you because you know he made it through, and you don't have to worry about potentially hitting one that was a little deeper than you thought it was.
Objectives. You're out there racing. We always talk about, hey, you can't make a pass if you're playing follow the leader. Well, days like today, you don't have a choice. I mean, you got to go where the good line is. And in most cases for our pro guys, that's going to be following the leader. So what do you do as far as in your head? What's the strategy here to make a pass? Are you hoping you can force the guy in front of you into a mistake, get around him?
I'm going to be honest with you, Mikey. For me personally,
it's you in the track.
And I've won all of 1 whopping races.
It was conditions like this, Johnny.
Yes, but survival is key on a day like today. Unless I'm getting roosted or unless, let me put it this way, if I'm in one of these 3 guys' positions and you can see the leader and nobody's getting away, I'm not making a pass. I'm staying where I'm at. I'm staying right out of the roost zone so I can save my goggles.
Like that?
Yep. just exactly like that. Now, if you're Craig DeLong and you feel you have a little more pace and you start to see Stu Baylor marching away and you put yourself in a position where, hey, if I want to stay in this fight, I need to get up there and I need to not let Stu get away. The way that I would attack or suggest attacking something like this is, you know the track by now, you're 2 laps in, just about 3. You know the section's coming up where you have multi-lines where it's possible to try and make a pass. If you're just in single ruts and you're kind of freight training, there's really no point in being right on somebody's rear end. You're just getting roosted unnecessarily. When you get into those places where the track's going to open up, potentially that you can take an alternate line and even send it and try to make it work if it's not a faster line, that's, oh, Stu Baylor down. Your leader's down on screen. Will he be able to get up and pick his machine up before Ricky Russell? We thought before, look at this. Now we've got a log jam, and Craig DeLong is your new leader. He's able to come out in front of Ricky Russell. That was wild.
How quickly things can change. So we set that up perfectly. We said you follow the leader, you wait to see something happen. Stu Baylor goes down. We thought Ricky Russell was going to capitalize. They had their own little bottleneck there, and Craig DeLong, right place, right time, and look at him trying to stretch it out.
Well, let me tell you something else. Right now, Stu Baylor, just having gone down, he is there in the number 3 spot still, but his hands are junk right now. Now,
dropped it on the throttle side.
They're already
right?
muddy. I believe it went down on the clutch side.
Was it the clutch side? Okay.
But regardless, these guys, sure, muddy for sure. Their hands are already muddy, but just that much more when you have to actually reach down into that mud and pick your machine up. His gloves are so slimy. He's really going to be struggling here with the grips for the next little bit until he can make it. Luckily, just before the pro pits, he's got just a couple minutes before he can get in there, get some towels on those grips. You know, maybe you could say change gloves, but man, on a day like today, I always advise against that. Just get those gloves wiped off, because you're, again, kind of the whole thing with the towels on the starting line. A few miles down the road, you're going to end up with muddy gloves again, so you might as well just wipe them clean and take off, because it's a very lengthy process to change gloves. It's not something you can do in 10 seconds. It's more 30 seconds or more, and that's the kind of time you don't want to give up on a day like today. All right, on screen, these guys should be working their way through just a couple more turns until we'll see them come through the finish line with 3 laps complete, and we are told we should see a 2-lap card out. It will be a 5-lap race, so there you see out front is Craig DeLong still, Ricky Russell in second, and Stu Baylor in third. So Stu able to get up and going and still very much in this fight, can see the 2 leaders ahead of him. I think the real tail of the tape right now, Mikey, is going to be, was that Craig that got hung up there? No. Still Craig leading. Here he is on screen. They're making some modifications to the finish line area, trying to fill those ruts in. So as we see that refresh, Craig DeLong, Ricky Russell, and Stu Baylor did give up a little bit of time there in that section, just that woods just before the finish line. He still has not made it.
I was going to say, technically
he's pushing his bike, and now he is now checked in, and he is 10.7 seconds
10.7
behind.
10.7 after 3.
So a rough little section there for Stu. Losing lead, going down, getting stuck coming into the finish line, and dropping about 10 seconds on the leaders in front of him. We'll see if we have the rapid replay of this. This is Stu Baylor coming in. You can see he just catches what appears to be a log with the front end, pushes the front end over, does come down on the throttle side. You are correct there. Wasn't the grip, or the, and then log jam there with Ricky Russell. Craig DeLong says, thank you very much. I'll squirt right by here on the right side and take over the lead.
Heads up riding by Craig DeLong right there, keeping your head on that figurative swivel as he's able to get around for the lead, and he leads after 3. He's got 3.5 seconds up on Ricky. Stu Baylor checked in 10.7 back. Don't forget, Stu's going to have to come into pit. Will Craig DeLong stop for a pit? Will Ricky Russell? Fresh goggles? Will they just keep it going?
I got to say, man, that track position is super important, but at the same time, I mean, it's hard to pass up an opportunity for fresh goggles and potentially towels on the grips at this point, and here's why. 2 laps remaining. track position is important right now, but not nearly as important as it would be this time next lap, in my opinion. If these guys are thinking their goggles won't make it another 2 laps, essentially, I would go ahead and pull in now and get all freshened up and then try to make the 2-lap run to the end, because if they don't stop this lap, they're going to have to make it 3 laps on goggles and gloves, and that's a big ask for a day like today.
That is a lot. Love all the variables, as if GNCC is not difficult enough. You got your pit stops, you got the lap traffic.
As we see the update there on screen, these guys are working their way towards VP Fuels Pro Row, but the updates are on screen. Craig DeLong, Ricky Russell, Stu Baylor are your top 3 now overall.
Yep.
Jonathan Johnson there in that P4 overall and your XC2 leader. Jordan Ashburn, Josh Strang are 4 and 5 in XC1 and 5 and 6 in the overall. You can see it on screen there. We don't need to tell you about it. But Ben Kelly up into the 9th place overall position after that lengthy pit stop, 8 seconds behind his teammate Johnny Gerard. Angus Riordan there in the 3rd place spot in XC2. So 7 riders. I'm getting pretty close here, Mikey. I said we'd lose about 2 a lap.
Pretty impressive.
I don't have a crystal ball. I just have a lot of experience. There we see, looks like Ricky Russell coming in and is going to pit. Craig DeLong, did he continue on? It looks like he did not stop. So Craig DeLong going to try to make a sprint here and get away. Ricky Russell coming in, looked like they even had a fuel jug ready for him. So going to top off fuel. Now here comes Stu Baylor. They're going to pit him this lap, and there may be a little discussion here about what exactly is going on. He's off the bike, and I'm assuming going to be wiping those hands. One would think he's what do we got going on here? Oh, we're spraying off the hands. We're pressure washing the hands. He wants his hands washed. I'm really hoping he remembers to get fresh goggles? Question mark. Doesn't appear that anybody has them ready for him, and he's going to take off with the ones he has on.
He's running the 9.2s. He trusted them, I guess. Man, that was
interesting strategy.
Send it. Hey man,
maybe it'll pay off for him.
Clear vision.
Right now, clear vision out front. This guy right here, Craig DeLong, leading the way, taking a look over his shoulder, saying, hey, where'd everybody go? Well, Craigie, you're out front. You're leading this one. Oh, look at this.
There we go. There's a fresh set of goggles. He said, now, wait a minute. I need goggles.
Oh, Stu tried to call me out on the last broadcast and say I need to pay attention because he predicted both podiums. Well, Stu, maybe you need to pay attention when you're hey, man, I'm not going to bust his chops. Things, especially on a day like today, there's so many things going through your mind. There is Johnny Gerard. You can tell by the Alpine Stars helmet there. That is Johnny Gerard. That is Ben Kelly there pitting. Ziggy helping out with the pit stop. Johnny's he's actually on the front of Selena there.
Oh, so yeah, that's as cool as it gets.
That's GNCC racing right there. She's bouncing to keep Ziggy happy.
Yep.
But Johnny, it looks like they're doing another air filter change on both machines, and both riders out and going. Ben Kelly and Johnny Gerard out on track. Craig DeLong, back to your leader, the 342 machine leading the way, and we believe he's going to have at least a, let's call it a 10. Ooh, dangerous line. That was where Stu Baylor, one of the times he got caught up there, just in the inside there. Craig DeLong leading the way. I said to Craig on the starting line today, oh, that's a way out there
line. He said, wait a second.
I said, Craig, you need to think like a guy that has long legs today. For those that don't know, Craig DeLong, probably our shortest XC1 rider, and surely the shortest inseam. I think he has like a 24-inch inseam, but he's making it work today. He does not have the long legs like Ricky Russell or Ben Kelly or Jordan Ashburn, but he's got great balance, and right now he's just hard on the hammer and just standing it up and not worrying about those short legs. Good news. Today, the ruts are so deep, Craig DeLong's feet can touch the ground.
You said it, not me. You said it, not me.
I'm allowed.
You and that's right. You and Craig are tight. You can get away with it.
Oh, we got a reroute here. It looks like they decided to take that section of track out. We saw the course officials there saying, hey, this dangerous line on the inside there. Well, Craig's able to make it through, and he's making some passes on some lapped riders. These guys have no idea that Craig, or leader, whoever it may be, is coming up on them, so they're trying to run their own race. This is obviously going to cost Craig a little bit of time here, but Ricky Russell going to have to circumvent his way through these lappers here in just a few moments.
You could see it in Craig as he went through the reroute, kind of looked over the shoulder, thought, okay, is this official? Okay, it is official. All right, I'm good. I'm good. So Craig DeLong leading out front. Biggest gap we've seen today, right now, with Craig, between Stu Baylor having to pit. But nonetheless,
Craig DeLong sitting in the driver's seat right now of what has been a gnarly, gnarly day of GNCC racing here at the General GNCC for round number 3. Taking a look at it, Craig DeLong sits 4th in the point standings. Boy, today would be a huge help for him. Would put him in front of Ricky Russell, who is in front of him as far as the point standings are concerned. Ricky Russell coming into today 3rd in points with 39, DeLong with 37. So Craig could really benefit from a win, not to mention the incredible confidence boost that would come from that as well.
That's really the last thing, the last piece of the puzzle for Craig DeLong.
Yes.
is getting that win. I mean, we know he's a rider that this is a lapped rider here with the trash bag on. Yeah, Craig DeLong, I mean, obviously showing he has the pace to run up front, to, battle. He battled Jordan Ashburn right down to the wire a couple races last year. We saw him lead. There is Craig DeLong on screen. Now look at the gap back to, we'll wait and we'll watch. It should be the 212 of Ricky Russell we see next on that Ampro Yamaha. Not yet, not yet. These are some more lapped riders working their way through here. We'll be watching. Oh, there we go. He's sideways trying to take that inside line. Wow, the gap he has now opened up. We did not see how long Ricky Russell was in the pit, so he may have done more than just fuel, perhaps wiping down the goggles, or wiping down the grips. Hopefully not wiping down the goggles, getting some fresh goggles. Maybe even, like you pointed out earlier, rinsing out the radiator. But there he is, Ricky Russell, the 212 machine, there in that second place ride. That blue front fender, about the only color you can see out there right now. They must have put a lot of whatever their silicone spray of choice is, to keep the mud from sticking there today. We know Stu Baylor was in the 3rd place position, but did he retain that after that lengthy pit stop and also turn him back around to come back for goggles? We'll find out here in just a moment. Looks like we got our bike coming at a pretty good rate of speed here. That, my friends, appears to be a Baylor. It is. There is Stu Baylor. So able to hang on to that 3rd place position despite the return to the pits to get a fresh set of goggles.
Yeah, and he had a pretty good gap between him and your next, your 4th place ride in the XC1. That's Jordan Ashburn. And when Ashburn checked in with 3 completed, he was 55 seconds back from Stu. So would have given Stu the opportunity to enjoy himself, if you will, on the pit stop and still be able to maintain that final podium spot to this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely starting to stretch out a little bit, even towards the front. We had talked about through essentially 3 laps of racing, just shy of about 100 yards shy of the finish line, or less than that. That looked to be maybe Johnny Gerard, just shy of the finish line there. The top 3 were all in the same camera shot. Now it's stretched out to where we have these time gaps between your leader, Craig DeLong, back to Ricky Russell in the 2nd place position, and also back to Stu Baylor. So the top 3, although they are still the top 3, it's stretched out from about 50 feet to pretty close to a minute, I'd say, from Craig DeLong back to Stu Baylor there in the 3rd place shot, or 3rd place position. I'd like to get a shot where we can see that we can actually see them both in the same place and see if we can get exactly what those gaps are.
Looking good so far, watching it through the Yamaha live drone as we check in Method Race Wheels Method Alley.
Craig DeLong taking a look over his shoulder, but what exactly is he looking for? There's nobody back there.
That's what
he doesn't know. He doesn't know how long those guys spent in the pits. Now, I think there he is again, looking back. Oh boy, I know some people that are not going to be happy about that.
Yeah.
They tell Craig to focus ahead and race the track, and right now he's just wanting to know what his gap is. So
fighting that mental battle.
It's tough, man. I can tell you. You know, a guy like Craig that has been so solid for so long, won an XC2 championship, won so many XC2 races, has been a consistent podium guy in the XC1 class now since he's been there a whole whopping not quite 2 years yet, or just barely over a year full time.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just to that point, and you know, he got called up at a time when Rockstar Husky really needed a guy. You know, Trevor was hurt, Trevor Bollinger was hurt, Thad Duvall was hurt, and not saying he was thrown to the wolves, but he kind of thrown to the wolves like, buddy, you got to go out there and you got to be successful now. So I feel like it's really not, like to your point, he's not been in the pro ranks that long, but it feels like it's been a long time because he had to be the grown man quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that point, while we have a little bit of time here, we're told it's around about 40 seconds back to Ricky Russell. Craig DeLong still leading the way. How that works essentially and how he got the call up, if you will, he was a part of that Coastal Racing Husqvarna team, was their XC2 rider. Basically what happened was, at that time there was, I believe, 3 actually. No, I guess there was 2. Two, yeah. Rockstar Racing Husqvarna riders, Trevor Bollinger and Thad Duvall, both out injured. A lot of these teams have agreements with their title sponsors that they have to field riders for these races. If not, that can lead to, potentially having to pay back sponsorship money or make concessions of some kind. So it was kind of a must situation for them, like, hey, we got to put a guy in the truck, and who better to put in than a guy that's already familiar with our brand, already knows the team. So they kind of borrowed Craig temporarily from the Coastal Racing team, and then very, very soon thereafter, it became a permanent thing. He won that XC2 championship with the Rockstar Husqvarna team rather than the Coastal team he was actually originally signed to, and it's parlayed itself into multiple years of that deal working out, and now he's right on top of things here, leading the General GNCC for that team.
Impressive stuff. Sounds like we may have a report down there in the pit. Okay, never mind, just kidding. But yeah, nonetheless, impressive. The journey, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's on their own, and Craig's has been very unique to him, and it's really been a pleasure to watch. And love seeing him out here having some success here today. I'm sure he feels like a long time coming. He holds himself to a high standard. He mentioned, last year at the end of the year, talked to him off camera at the end of Ironman, and he said, I'm ready. I'm ready to be that guy who's not just battling for podiums. I want to be battling for wins. And he has been in the fight plenty of times for wins. It's just not quite happened yet.
Well, with the 40-second lead, he's not battling for a win. He's controlling a win right now. Again, still, he's got to finish out this lap at the 4-mile marker. He's got about 8 more miles to continue to lead this one. What I am curious to see is, will he stop and get himself kind of resituated, get some fresh, goggles, wipe those grips down, take some towels. 40 seconds is what our producer Adam Gordon told us it was, and I have no reason to think it's going to be any different right now. Craig DeLong stretching this one out front. Looks like we may have, oh, nope, those are some riders going the other way. It might be more than 40 seconds. This is really starting to stretch out. Craig DeLong, a man on a mission, and is he in fact on his way to his first ever XC1 and overall win here at the Specialized General GNCC?
We might have to start throwing him into the Craig likes the mud conversation. If he can come away with this one, Craig DeLong likes the mud.
Folks, this is more than 40 seconds. I don't need a stopwatch. He has opened this up. That is still not Ricky Russell on screen. These are some more riders that Craig DeLong has put a lap down. That also not Ricky Russell. Not Ricky Russell. There is Ricky. So there is and there is Stu. So Stu is actually now caught up to Ricky Russell. Ricky Russell having some problems getting around that lapper there. So you're now 2 and 3 riders about a minute back, I'd say. Craig DeLong out front and all alone.
Keep pace, keep racing that track in front of you. Craig DeLong out front. We got a great battle going on between Ricky Russell and Stu. And a little gap back to, well, we had a minute gap back to almost a minute.
Josh Strang right there on screen, so he is P4 physically. There's that lapped rider with the garbage bag. Oh, Strang having some trouble there, having a dab, almost going over those roots you can see there on the inside. So slick. There is Jordan Ashburn in the 5th place spot. So that is your top 5 all physically XC1 riders as they run. That is look to be another KTM. Whoa, look at that. That is now, it looks to be Ben Kelly and Johnny Gerard who have worked their way up. They have made up a bunch of time and are running in formation again, a lot like we saw in Florida just 7 days ago. So that would be 6 and 7 physically as they run. I think that's a lapped rider sitting there. I don't think that's one of our leaders that we lost. But as we mentioned, now these gaps back to XC2 starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. This is where these guys, now they've got the track sorted out, they're more confident with their lines, and they're really, really putting the hammer down. The XC2 guys either struggling to keep pace or making mistakes that are dropping them back. But still, even if Jonathan Johnson and also Evan Smith can hang on to even top 10 overall positions, that would still be a phenomenal achievement for them in that beta team, especially if they can close it out in P1 and P2 in the XC2 XC2 class.
Be impressive. As they checked in after 3 in that XC2, it was Johnson out front, Barnes in the 2 spot, Gus Reardon in 3rd, Evan Smith 4th, and Lyndon Snodgrass rounding out the top 5. Show some love to the 125s out there, because sounds like we got Zach Heron standing by down in the pits with a trackside report.
Hey guys, I'm down here with Cade, the mechanic for Craig DeLong. Cade, sorry about that. We're getting close, getting to the closing stages of the race. Do we expect to see Craig pitting before the checkered flag, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. We're hoping he doesn't pit with him being in the lead right now. If he does pit, we're just going to do goggles and get him out quickly. My hope is just to keep him going right now.
There you go, guys. So the plan for right now, not pitting unless absolutely necessary here for the Rockstar Husky team. Good luck to you guys here. We'll get it back to it. Down here in the pits.
Rockstar Husky playing it by ear, Johnny. That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's absolutely. I mean, if he has the ability to go to the finish line or to make it to the finish, why stop? Why give up that 10 seconds? But for me, it's just, man, fresh goggles and towels on the grips just feel so good in a race like this. It's like putting on a fresh pair of socks after you get out of the shower. You just feel so good. You feel more in tune with the bike. You feel more in control, in my opinion. But again, that's going to be up to Craig. And at this point, he's going to hear every little noise in the motor. He's going to feel every little bump and think, what is that? I mean, it's just one of those things that's happening when you're leading your first race like this. There we see Ricky Russell, 2nd place. A lot of steam coming off that machine, so he's obviously pushing hard. Same for Stu Baylor. These guys are absolutely fighting it out. Stu! And down goes Baylor. So he's going to give up a little bit of time to Ricky Russell. Don't think he'll be in danger of Josh Strang catching him unless he can't get up and going. But again, Stu having to charge again from the back, taking a look over his shoulder. He knows
where is Johnny Gerard.
Josh Strang coming.
Or Strang, excuse me.
Yeah, Josh Strang in the 4th place spot. I believe that is in fact him. And
Jordan
is not
Jordan.
Not Jordan yet. Josh Strang in 4 looks like he's shaking Jordan Ashburn.
Yeah.
At least for now, unless that was a Josh Strang lookalike. That is a KTM, not a Husky. The 2nd one there. Or are we? Now that is one of the KTMs. You can tell by the handguards. Don't know if it's Ben Kelly or Johnny Gerard. Helmet looks to be an Alpine Star, so that is Johnny Gerard. So we've lost Jordan Ashburn there. There's Jordan Ashburn, and that was, I believe, Ben Kelly right in front of him there. So Gerard, Kelly, Ashburn.
Well, as we try to keep up with where everyone is out on this race course here today, it's been a gnarly GNCC. Can Craig DeLong hang on and get that coveted XC1 win? We'll be right back after this.
Yamaha YZ450F. Narrower, more compact, and lighter. Built to do one thing: go faster. Flexible financing options offered directly through Yamaha are available. See your local Yamaha dealer today.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Welcome back, GNCC Live. Last night, the Specialized Podium Party popping off, man. They gave away $13,000 in prizes at the giveaway. I mean, there was parking for Snowshoe. They gave away Specialized e-bikes, Specialized mountain bikes. You name it, it was going down. Awesome event, and a huge shout out and thank you, of course, Specialized, our presenting sponsor, returning here again for 2023, and they are the title sponsor of the General GNCC. The Specialized General GNCC actually had our first round of EMTB racing on Friday night. We had a little adjusted schedule. Johnny, you raced it, man. What was it like?
Oh, it was a blast. You know, a lot of people were concerned about with the rain that we got on Thursday night into Friday, that it was going to be real sloppy. Definitely some muddy sections, but man, the bicycle racing is just so cool. Fun. If you're at home, you have an e-bike, you don't have an e-bike, go buy one, come out, check it out. It's a blast, man. It's cool because you can battle, but you can also have a conversation with the guy that you're battling with. It's really a pretty cool form of racing. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely fun. And a shout out and thank you to Specialized for putting that on for everybody. I know that was a huge undertaking.
A huge undertaking, a huge turnout.
Huge turnout,
That thing went on right outside the GBC rig. I was there last night, had JoJo Bowden come over, help me, rearrange some stuff because we knew the weather was coming in. We couldn't even get to the rig. That's the amount of people that were down there, and JoJo was like, "Hey, do you want to call somebody and have these people move?" I said, "Are you kidding me? Look at all these people, man. This is great. This is exactly what we want. We want a big gathering of people. We want everybody happy and having a good time." Specialized putting that on. Thanks to those guys. Awesome job.
I think they also gave away like a year's worth of race entries to somebody.
$13,000 worth of stuff. I don't know what all it was, but we may have a leader on screen, and we do. Craig DeLong, you can see with that right hand giving the rev chuck, he's saying, "Yo, leader coming through." Still taking a look over his shoulder. Saying, Craig, you're going to rewatch this race. I know you will, and when you do, just know that all of the people that yell at you for looking back are also rewatching this race, so just stop doing it. Hey, man,
if he can hang on and win, though, he'll be watching this and he'll be like, "I don't care, Johnny, I don't care, Mikey."
You want to know why I was looking back? I was looking back to let everybody know that I'm winning.
Where you at?
Yeah, exactly. We saw that with Joel Hetrick at the ATV Supercross.
Yeah, he said, "Where's everybody at? Where's everybody at?"
We're getting word that there may be a development with Ricky Russell's machine throwing a lot of smoke. Again, not anything too out of the realm of normal in these conditions, but if it is starting to overheat, we may see him for a little bit of a unscheduled pit stop, maybe clean out the radiators, do whatever he feels he needs to do, and the team feels they need to do to make sure that they can get that machine to the finish line. Man, I didn't even think. I was so excited about seeing Craig there leading. Didn't think to look at the time, but we know the gap is big. We know he's probably getting pit boards. We still have not seen Ricky Russell or Stu Baylor, who, as we last knew, were the number 2 and 3 riders. Stu Baylor having that little bobble in the creek section there, or that ditch, losing a bunch of time. Oh, speaking of smoking, there he is. Ricky Russell on screen, and that bike is definitely blowing a lot of steam.
Uh-oh. Got a little nervous right there, just getting around the lap traffic here in the Method Race Wheels Method Alley.
And I got to tell you, I mean, if you're the AmPro Yamaha team, if you're getting these radio reports, you got to start thinking like, okay, guys, let's get ready, let's get this thing cooled down. Stu Baylor's been able to close that gap. That was Stu Baylor there, and there is the number 17, the freight train of Josh Strang. So those are your top 4 riders now through that. There is a lapped rider, but yeah, even though potentially, he is in that second place spot, he's got 2 riders hot on his heels coming in to rinse out the radiators and try and cool that bike down a little bit. He is going to cost him some time. As much as that thing is smoking and steaming, might be a good move on their part to make sure a little bit extra insurance to get that machine to the finish line with 1 lap of racing still remaining.
Man, I cannot help but think the last couple of years, everybody that, with all the injuries we had, knock on wood, everybody's been a good year so far. But go ahead.
Look at this. This is, I'll have to wait and see. That's a Shoei. No, that's an Alpine Stars helmet. That is, Johnny Gerard has made up even a little bit more of that gap and is now up to the 6th place position. Got to do some adding up in the head there. And don't know if we saw any other riders come through there. Hard to tell. That appeared to be Jordan Ashburn there. Don't know if we missed anybody else. Ben Kelly was ahead of him the last time we saw, but we'll see if we can... maybe we missed him, maybe we didn't. A lot of things unfolding here in this little short section of track.
But what I was going to say was, even if you don't want to give up any positions, that's obvious. But given the situation, let's bring the bike in, let's get cleaned off, get you back out there, even if we got to sacrifice a spot or two, because in the big picture of things, that's better than the bike not making it to the finish.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough when you're in the rider's shoes because obviously,
you don't want to stop.
Yeah,
you want to go.
Never want to stop. You want to keep going. You want to keep pushing. That looks to be Grant Baylor. It is Grant Baylor, Josh Strang's teammate, so a solid ride for Grant, looking like he's up in about the 7th or 8th place physically position, and you can see now those gaps back to the XC2 riders really starting to open up. That's a lapped rider there on screen. But yeah, Grant Baylor, again, probably right around that 7th place position physically on track in that XC1 class. And we have not seen any XC2 riders, we don't believe, check through. Here we see another rider looking like he's carrying good pace. And there is a beta. You can tell by the front fender. Not sure which one it is. That is not another one. That is... looked to be a KTM, possibly an XC2 rider. Angus Riordan was up there, pretty good in the overall, was in the 10th place spot and 3rd in the XC2 class. There is another beta, and that one appears to be Evan Smith.
I think it was Evan. Yeah, I think it was Evan Smith.
Not sure who that was behind him. Not a good camera angle there at all. Let's see. Couldn't tell who that was there, so that could have been another XC2 rider, but I think we may have Angus Riordan having made the pass up into the 2nd place spot now, gotten around one of the 2 betas for sure. We're at the 10-mile marker. Here is your leader on screen, Craig DeLong. A little bit of steam coming off that machine, but it's kind of been like that all day. When you go through water puddles, you'll have the moisture evaporating off of the exhaust pipe and off the engine. That's where that steam comes from, leading the way. And let's just, okay, we're 2:06.21 when Craig kind of rounded that corner by the stump exiting this section. Remember that, Mikey, 2 hours, 6 minutes, 21 seconds. Let's see if we can get a gap back to the 2nd place rider of Ricky Russell. And is that bike still smoking? Will he be coming in to clean out the radiators, pressure wash off the engine, get some mud off it, do anything they can to get that thing cooled down a little bit? Or will he just keep on trucking and send it for another lap here in pursuit of a checkered flag? So we're at 30 seconds. And it seems longer sometimes.
It really does. It really does.
We just talk fast.
Let's see. Pointing. Is it going to be Ricky? No.
It is not. So we're at 50 seconds right now.
Boy.
Craig DeLong stretching it out, man.
Craig.
All stemming from not stopping in the pits there.
Yes.
He had the lead, but just marching away with it. The other guys stopped, got themselves resituated, some fresh goggles, towels on the grips, and just have not been able to make the time back. So we're at a minute 9, minute 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there is Ricky Russell. We're still not to that same spot, though. We're to minute 23.
Wow.
So that is the lead as they run. Stu Baylor there right behind Ricky Russell, putting pressure on him. It looks like those guys are charging, but they've got some ground to make up. Looks like they've opened up a little bit over Josh Strang, and maybe from this camera shot we'll see if we have in fact lost Ben Kelly after Johnny Gerard. So there is Strang. That's your 4th place rider. Johnny Gerard was the next one we saw. Looked like he was about 15 seconds back of Strang when we saw him last. And the 969 machine looking for a good ride today. Disappointing performances for himself in both of the first 2 rounds. Up front early at round 1, having arm pump issues, falling all the way back to, I believe, a 20th place position. Florida P2 right up until the very end, until the lights went out, and then it was just all over. Wasn't even able to score a finish at all. There is Johnny Gerard. So that is your 5th place rider. The 969 factory KTM, FMF KTM. And looking back, we see there is Ben Kelly. So he would be 6th place in the running order coming through there. Johnny Gerard's teammate up on the pegs, working his way through. Challenging conditions today, man. That shows guys that have this kind of ability, the way the bike's dancing under them. Then in 7th, that is Jordan Ashburn. No goggles for Ashburn, so you got to wonder if he's going to be making a stop here. So that is your top 7 XC1 riders and overall as they work their way through here at the 10-mile marker.
You know, something we've not talked really much about today, Johnny, is the fact that both Stu Baylor and Ben Kelly entered today tied for the points lead. Both running the reverse plate here today. Obviously cannot be the case as we leave here today, but as far as that championship chase is concerned, we talk about the consistency needed over the last 2 years. Right now, Stu Baylor doing what he needs to do, and that's finish in front of Ben Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there is Grant Baylor, Stu's brother. So Stu Baylor in years past, you know, we saw races going back to X Factor in 2017, Stu pulling out of that race while having had a stellar season up till that point. You know, mud race can be an Achilles heel for a lot of guys, but Stu rock solid today. I mean, in the top 3, despite what we already talked about early in the show and in the opener, or in the opening of the show, the issues he had before the race. You know, how frustrating and how mentally taxing that can be. Like, hey guys, let's go to the starting line. You know what? Just a little bit muddy. Let's go ahead and move this shifter up 1 click and have a lot of mud on my boot today. Boom! Snaps off a bolt in the shifter. Now they're trying to easy out it. They got left-hand drill bits. You know, they probably got heat on that thing. They're trying everything. And he's looking at his mechanic going, hey man, I just wanted to move the shifter. What's going on here? And that is Angus Riordan right there. So I think he is now physically 2nd in that XC2 class, and potentially still within the top 10 overall, we do believe. He may be close enough to Grant Baylor to have him on corrected time if we saw what we think was Jonathan Johnson leading the way. There's our trash bag buddy. He's got a lot of TV time so far in this last lap, being amongst the leaders and really sticking out with that custom kit he's got. And there is the other beta. We think Evan Smith. There is, not sure. Could be possibly Cody Barnes. Looked like he was wearing a USWE hydration pack on his back. Cody Barnes, didn't see if it was a Honda, but we know he was in the mix and may have missed him in that last camera shot. So it looks like he may be running in the 4th place position in that XC2 class, very much in striking distance of a podium in that class. And Lyndon Snodgrass, the 178, so up into 5th, we believe, in XC2 as they run. At the completion of lap number 3, Mikey, he was updating. We think that is Snodgrass in 5th, and he was in 5th at the completion of lap number 3. So still in that same position. The 4 in front of him as they are running, we believe, Jonathan Johnson leading the way. Angus Riordan now moved up to 2nd. Cody Barnes in 3rd. Evan Smith 4th. And Lyndon Snodgrass rounding out the top 5 in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Great shot here. It's the first time we've got to go quite that far back and really see these guys coming through. That almost looked, no, I think that's a left rider. Almost looked like Brody Johnson, but he looks like he's running a little little further back there in the running order. Checking back there, Ryder Lafferty up to the 7th place spot behind Mike Wachowski, 38 seconds behind Wachowski. That is your points leader, perfect in the first 2 races of 2023. Gonna really need to put in some heaters there because it's a 1 minute 22 second gap back from Lyndon Snodgrass to Mike Wachowski from the 5th to 6th place position, then another 38 seconds back to Ryder Lafferty at the completion of lap number 3. 2 laps remaining for those guys at that point. Now when they make it to here, 1 lap and about 2 miles is all they have left, so time to make some moves if you want to move forward.
Hey, at this point, you know the lines. There's not a lot of line choices out there. You know them. You just got to hit your marks and honestly probably hope for the best at this point.
All right, we're working our way over closer to the finish line. We did not get the drone shot this lap, but we're passing time and waiting on the on the leaders. They should be coming through here, coming into the finish, and we will see a white flag waving for the 342 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Craig DeLong. We've seen Craig DeLong lead late. We saw him at the Burr Oak GNCC last year. Jordan Ashburn all the way down to the finish, but Jordan was able to get away on that last lap and seal the deal. Craig DeLong leading early just a week ago in the Florida Sands. Had the lead for 2-3 laps, was out there, kind of pulled away, but this is the flip-flop. He was leading a little bit earlier, kind of fell back into the running order, and I believe this is Craig. It is, and a white flag waving for the 342 machine. Craig DeLong 1 lap away from what could be his very first ever XC1 and overall win here at the Specialized GNCC.
What a story. What a ride so far here by Craig DeLong. Can he hang on? Can he keep it going? 1 more lap to go for him. So he is essentially, we'll say 37 minutes away-ish. Yeah, give or take.
The laps have gotten that long.
We are at Craig DeLong just checked in
37-13. And you know he set the fastest lap because he rode away from these guys.
Yes, yeah.
So that's wild. Well, good call. I kind of, I won't say question, but wondered when they said 5-lap race.
Like,
mathematically, it seemed like it was not super short, but it seemed like it was going to be like 235, 240. It's looking more now like it's going to be about 250 something. So we're going to be getting really close to that 3-hour mark.
Right where they need to be, and I don't think anybody will be mad that it's just under that.
No. I think even the guys that get second and third are going to say, we didn't want another lap of that. We'll take our points and we'll move on.
We'll take it and roll. So Craig DeLong trying to capture an XC1 overall win. Ricky Russell in the 2 spot. Well, Stu, Ricky battling.
Well, it looks like we may see that battle on screen, and it looks like it is still the 212 of Ricky Russell, smoke and all, sending it through the ruts there, and hot on his heels, there is the 514 of Stu Baylor. We got a lap rider in between him, but we can still see the blue on the front fender. Looking like Ricky may have stopped and got goggles again, so he's got some help out and about and around there. There is Baylor. They're in the 3 spot. They are through and out. Oh. That was not Baylor.
Strang got around Stu Baylor.
Wow. Big development there. Josh Strang up into a podium position and battling his way to the front.
The old wily veteran. Hey, we said it. The man, he's the mud rider. Josh Strang loves it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Man, you know, Josh Strang, obviously it's been a challenging start to the season for him. Just hasn't kind of been up where we know he can be. What a way to do it, though. If you're able to come out today, put yourself on the box, get up there, thank the sponsors. A highlight so far of the Babbitt's Monster Energy Online. There they are, right there on screen. A highlight of their season so far. You know, Lyndon Snodgrass coming in as the defending champion, thus far not able to grab that middle spot on the podium, has been riding well and having good races, keeping himself in the hunt, and again, inside the top 5.
Yeah.
Heck, we might have to take a look at the points there. He might work himself very close to the points lead. With Ryder in 7th, I think if Lyndon does finish up in 5th, he'll only make up, would be 3 points. Look at this, on screen, Craig DeLong leading the way. No stop, no goggles, no gloves. Mikey Waynes, what is going through Craig DeLong's mind right now?
I tell you what, I got to think, out of everybody out there, he's not cold right now. He doesn't realize that the fingers and hands are going numb. He's just, okay, keep it on 2 wheels, minimize the mistakes, bring it home for a win.
Can I make this about me for a minute?
Absolutely, Johnny. What was going through your head in this moment?
Not in that way.
All right.
You want to know what's going through Craig DeLong's mind? Free margaritas.
Is that on the line?
I got to deal with the guys.
Is that on the
Anytime
line?
one of them wins a race, I buy the margs after the race. And, of course, non-alcoholic, because I don't know if they're supposed to be they're allowed. If
That's a good point.
listening.
That's a good point, yeah.
No, I think they're allowed.
Off the record.
Free margaritas. So Craig's, he must really want that margarita because he's riding really, really well. They tried to take my wallet from me after Florida because Ben got the win, Craig was on the podium, and I was leaving to go to Florida, and they said, wallet.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Wallet.
Hand over the cash. We want margs.
Margs.
Hey, you got to motivate these guys somehow, right?
Yeah, I get it.
And just to be clear, this isn't like brand specific. Ricky Russell, when he's winning, free margaritas.
All right.
You know, at Grant Baylor, you win a race, come find me. Free margaritas.
Free margs.
Stu, I'm not buying, and here's why. Can't afford it.
I was going to say, good luck, Johnny.
The motor would burn up on the margarita maker, and he'd still. There we go. Ricky Russell on screen, the 212. There we go. There's the answer. They are going to pressure wash out the radiators, try to get him going, and he is able to hang on to that second place spot. Pit board for Stu Baylor. No need to stop for anything else. And, man, that battle far from over. The gap at the finish line when they came in 1 minute 25 seconds for Craig DeLong. Now Baylor has gotten back around Josh Strang. Don't know if he may have stopped there and gotten some fresh goggles, but he is back into the number 3 spot.
Number 3 spot, yes, correct. So good battle there for Strang and Baylor.
Look at this muddy mess, Mikey. Hey, you want to go down and help these guys clean up after this one?
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
Just checking.
I am good.
All right, white flag waving. We've got our top 10 through on screen. You can see there at least. So we'll give them a quick rundown there, Mikey. Craig DeLong leading the way. Ricky Russell in second. Josh Strang was in third. We know he is now dropped back to fourth. Stu Baylor up to third. Johnny Gerard in fifth. Ben Kelly sixth. Jordan Ashburn seventh. Stu Baylor eighth. Angus Riordan now leading the XC2. Grant Baylor. Angus Riordan now leading the XC2 class. He was behind Jonathan Johnson at the 10-mile marker. Made the pass and now has a 10-second lead. So potentially a first-time XC2 winner with Angus Riordan.
He's always in the mix. Yep. I didn't realize he hadn't won
has
one,
had podiums.
He's had podiums, correct, yeah.
But never gotten the win. So this could be a first for him today. Been riding incredibly well, has been in the thick of it all day. And then Jonathan Johnson rounding out the top 10 overall, and still would be a phenomenal ride for him if he can put that bait on the podium. Obviously 1-2 earlier in the day.
Two betas on the podium
Evan
as
Smith
it stands right now.
Yep.
Jonathan Johnson in 2, and Evan Smith is in the 3 spot.
With 2 seconds over Cody Barn. 2 seconds. Cody Barnes is right off that podium. You know he wants to put that Phoenix Honda on there. But you know the Beta boys, they want a big day today.
They need it. Yeah, for sure. Cody Barnes, that's one guy you don't want behind you, though, with that time gap. And I was going to say Lyndon Snodgrass. Snodgrass just checked in a moment ago. He's 42 seconds back in that 5 spot.
We got a bottleneck at the finish line, Mikey. Griff Cotter still down there pulling people? He sure is. The Mountain Man.
The Mountain Man.
Mikey, how long? So 30 lap time was 37-13?
Yeah, I think it was like 37-13, 37-11.
Just for fodder here, how long would it take you to ride a dirt bike around this track right now?
In these conditions?
Yep, right now.
I think I would be able to turn a lap by May.
May? Okay.
By May,
right.
May, June.
This is no outside assistance?
No outside assistance?
Yeah.
May 2024.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Folks at home, if you're watching this, it's hard to really put into words how difficult some of these sections are because these top riders are making it look so easy.
All the respect in the world for these guys. It's insane to me. And I know they say the same thing when I'm on my Ducati doing 110. I hope no one's listening. That's a state trooper in Indiana. Kilometers, yeah, that's right. On the interstate in Indiana. But it's been a few years. I got a little more common sense than that now. But
I don't even drive over the speed limit when I'm towing a trailer anymore. That's what 45 looks like, buddy.
You're the guy. You better not be in that far left lane.
Only if I'm passing.
Okay.
And then I get right back. All right. I'm not going to say I don't go over the speed limit, but I don't. The days of hauling a 42-foot trailer, 85, 90 mile an hour.
Yeah. I look back on some of the silly things I did on a street bike, and
I just don't have the desire to take. I was another shameless plug. If you listen to the Inside Line podcast,
there it is.
Caleb likes to call me out and says, I don't like to take chances. I like to live so safely. Hey man, I got a lot to live for. Life is good. Oh, we got an update, Mikey Waynes.
Sounds like Ricky Russell is stuck in a mud hole somewhere by the gate.
Out by the pond,
out by the front
gate.
Oh, okay, in that section.
And if it's the section I'm thinking of, that's not a mud hole. That is a sinkhole to the center of the earth. That thing is deep. He may require some assistance to get out there.
My wife just texted me, I just sold all your bikes.
Wifey Wayne, she's selling off Mikey's toys.
She said, I know the truth now. I don't do that anymore. My wife watching at home, I don't do that anymore. I just slow it down.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I think I could make a lap on this track in under 3 hours. So I could
a lap on a bike or an ATV?
Oh, an ATV, I could truck around here, no problem. I know what I'm doing on those things. Bike, hey, we'll find out. Mikey, I woke up this morning, was committed to doing the triple. I was going to run all 3. I did the mountain bike on Friday, did the morning race yesterday, was committed, was going to race the dirt
and then
bike.
You saw the rain
Stood
at
up,
AM.
Look, I heard it on the rooftop a little bit, and I was like, not so bad. Looked outside, saw a river running by the camper, immediately turned on Drive to Survive on Netflix, and I watched 4 episodes this morning while I made my avocado toast. Had a nice little morning. Maybe I'll go to Home Depot later. I don't know if there'll be enough time. On screen, Craig DeLong leading the way on the Rockstar Husqvarna and looking good. Craig, right now, focused on the track and focused on himself. Nothing can stop him from doing this. He just needs to ride his own race, and it's all going to come together for him.
Yeah, it's just super stoked for Craig. Let's not count our chickens for they hatch, I know, but the man is in position right now. It is Craig's race to win. It is Craig's race to lose at this point. So just got to bring it in. He's about less than a half an hour away now, about 27 and a half minutes before we should see him check in for a checkered flag. Ricky Russell, as we understand, having some trouble out there. Baylor, last we saw it, gotten around Strang.
Mikey, how do you feel about some math? You want to do some math?
Oh, boy.
Craig DeLong, 37 points.
Okay.
Ben Kelly and Stu Baylor, 55 apiece.
Okay.
So that would be a difference of 18, if my math is correct.
55 minus, what did you say, 37?
Yep.
Wow. Ooh, and get radio chatter. Sounds like Ricky Russell is now out of the race. So, ouch. That one hurts.
We'll wait to confirm. We'll see if the boys down there, our pit reporters, Zach and Jackson, can get an update. Obviously, we want to be conscientious of that team if they're able to do something to get him back into the race. But if we see Ricky either towed in or can get a word with someone from that AmPro team, stuck in a mud hole turning to potentially a no points day, that's a big hit for a championship contender like Ricky Russell.
Yeah, and talk about a heartbreaker. I mean, you go out there and you lay it all out in conditions like this. To not be able to come away and see the checkers, that's frustrating.
So that plays, look at this, Josh Strang on screen. Can we confirm, did we miss Stu Baylor, or has Josh Strang made the pass? We're busy, we're looking at each other. Oh, there is Stu, I can tell he's coming. So there is your now third place rider, Josh Strang up to the second place position. Stu Baylor, interesting line there around the top side of that stump, standing up and kind of looking like he's just cruising at this point. So you're wondering if maybe, not a top rider there. Wondering if Stu Baylor potentially maybe having either some bike issues of his own or just thinking, hey man, I don't want to give this one away. Is that Craig DeLong? Don't know. Johnny Gerard now up to the 4th place spot. So that moves him up yet another position. Next we should see Ben Kelly moving up now to 5th. He was in 6th when we last saw, but we are told we've lost Ricky Russell, and obviously we haven't seen him come by on screen here, so we can kind of confirm that ish here. 2 hours 26 minutes into this one. Craig DeLong well on his way, marching away with potentially his first ever win here today in the mud of Georgia.
Craig likes the mud. We're just throwing it out there. We're starting it now.
It's a thing. There is Ben Kelly on screen, so he is now up to a 5th place position. And points-wise, what this means is Stu Baylor, if they finish the way they're running, Stu Baylor would be the sole, I believe that is Craig DeLong. It is. Yep. There is your leader now 3 miles in, so 9 miles remaining, standing between him and potentially his first win. Again, this would leave Stu Baylor in sole possession of that leader's plate and the points lead leaving here today, unless Ben Kelly can jump up there and make a couple passes. Right now, his teammate, Johnny Gerard, standing between them. But what I was getting at was how close would Craig DeLong be getting back to the points? Well, that gap just opened up a little bit because we lost Ricky Russell. So that was a 5-point swing in the direction of Stu Baylor. Well, it would be, we got to start doing all kinds of math now.
Yeah, get the abacus out.
Yeah,
we'll
so
get it
25 points. Now Josh Strang would be getting, Stu Baylor would be getting 21 points. So it would be a 9-point swing for Craig DeLong. He would make up 18 down on both Ben Kelly and Stu Baylor. Wouldn't be enough to, he would still remain 9 points down on Stu Baylor as they run.
Taking shape, though. It just makes things interesting. Love that. Getting more guys in the thick of it as far as the points chase is concerned. It's kind of, Supercross last night with Eli. I don't know if you've watched or not.
I didn't. No, you're good. You're good. Starlink, bro.
It was all right. Very good. It was that kind of not same situation, but we, even Ricky and the GOAT, the guys we're talking about, who'd we miss?
I don't know. Somebody? He was going fast.
He was ripping. But it was all Eli, and then it's like, well, wait a second. If he finishes where he's at, if he has a bad night, he's not going to be the points leader at the end of the night.
There is the battle for third. No, one of them's a lap rider. That looks to be Jordan Ashburn there. So what changed? Josh Strang and Stu Baylor already came by, I'm assuming.
Was that the rider we saw fly through there?
That, to me, was 100% Jordan Ashburn. Okay, we'll clarify before we make any claims. Has Jordan Ashburn made some passes? He would have had to have gotten around Kelly, Gerard. Okay. That might have been the very fast-moving riders that we missed there. We're kind of in and out of this shot here, trying to keep tabs on things, and there goes another one.
But my whole point to that, back to it, not a big deal, is just that Craig DeLong's in the fight now.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
He can come away with a win from this,
swing on one day,
huge.
That's huge, man. He's been just off the podium at round 1 in the 5th place spot, and then on the podium. There's no way Craig is already to the 10. Okay. It was a Husky, so I started. All right, we'll see him next at the 4-mile marker. Sorry, folks, we're kind of jumping around here. Best of conditions today. Everything, it's, in the dust, it's hard to see them coming sometimes, but it is, we're trying to pick them out here, all the brown. Oh, and by dust, I mean mud.
Mud.
FMF PowerPoint, 4-mile marker, Mark. We're just waiting on the leaders and checking off the mile markers.
Hurry up and
ever
wait.
Closer.
Hurry up and wait. I'm sure Craig is eager to see that checkered flag.
And there he is, Josh Strang. So we think we missed Craig DeLong at this. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good gap, minute and 25 seconds when they checked in at scoring. So Josh Strang, we think, second place position. Stu Baylor would be next as they come by, and there he is. Stu Baylor in the 3rd place spot here at the 4-mile marker. So roughly 8 miles of racetrack remaining. So as we are pretty certain that is our 2nd and 3rd place riders. We think we missed Craig DeLong coming through this section in the dancing back and forth. So with DeLong out front, there is your 2nd and 3rd place riders of Strang and Baylor. 4th place in our last camera shot was Johnny Gerard. We did see Ricky Russell come through, was holding down that 2nd place spot. We have been told something happened, got stuck, perhaps don't know exactly what happened, but he is, we are told, out of the race.
Hate that for Ricky.
And we have somebody just absolutely buried backwards on the track, mind you. The track comes at us, and if we get a look at that guy, he's going the wrong direction on the race course. Don't know how we get there, but we've got some help coming for him. Looks like one of the Husky mechanics saying, track goes the other way, bud. So they're going to get him out of there and hopefully make some room for the leaders to come through and make a line. At this point, you're just making lines. You can't use the ones that are there. They're done. They're expired.
There's no race lines, it's available lines. Take what you can get. That is grueling through there.
This place is just chewed up. And think of how many mud races we've had here over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And then the track crew goes out there and gets the little mini dozers going and pushes all the dirt back, replants some grass seed, lets the ground heal itself for a year, and come back and do it all over again. It's been a while since we had one quite this muddy, though. 2014, the race that was alluded to before the start of the show.
I saw Strang had posted something about that one, yeah.
Yeah, that was, you always make the joke when it gets wet, like, oh man, I could have raced a jet ski today. You actually probably could have traversed a good 50% of the track with a jet ski that day. It was wild. All right, looks like we got some excited mechanics and a excited rider out front. No goggles. He pitched those. Doesn't. Oh no, still got them on. Or are they not? They appear to be gone. Yeah. So Craig DeLong leading the way, and 2:32.25 as he leaves this shot. We'll see what the gap is. 1 minute 25 seconds is what it was when the white flag was waving. Will he be able to maintain that gap, and can he march away? That is Jameson, his one of his mechanics there from the Rockstar Husky team. Jameson was Craig's direct mechanic a few years ago. I think he isn't this year, but you know he's still pumped to see his guy out there.
Absolutely.
And on his way to potentially his first win here today.
There'll be a lot of excited folk. You want to see a celebration. Again, we've got a lot of time left, but potentially.
I mean, things develop quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
But if you're
Anything
Craig
can
DeLong,
happen.
a minute and a half, like, you're getting pit boards. At that point, you're not worried about somebody suddenly just putting in a charge. You got 15, 20 seconds, you know, one lapper, a minute and a half. It's almost like, oh man, and I hate to even jinx the guy, but the only thing really that can stop you at this point is yourself. Like, if you get in your own head and just start, you know, picking crazy lines or doing something silly, of course it's still very challenging. And man, I kind of want to allude to something, but I also don't want to jinx Craig. Before the race, I was told that Craig has a superstition. Here is Josh Strang in the second place position, and the freight train, excellent ride for him here today on that Monster Energy Babbitt's.
He cleaned it off for us.
Yeah, he goes through the water, cleans it off so we can see the sponsor logos. Shout out to Babbitt's and Monster Energy.
Thank you, Josh Strang. That dude is, Josh Strang is the kind of guy, you know, just every time you want to, you know, he's in the twilight of his career, he's hitting that, nope. Josh Strang turns back the clock, and I feel like I've been saying that since I started in 2017. The guy's just like the ageless wonder. He's always there.
Here's the real question. Does Josh Strang do a shoey today for a P2?
It might be it'd be like the consistency. Stu
Baylor.
Third
place position. Solid points day for Stu. Not out of this one yet. Nothing decided. Only 4 miles in. Still having quite a bit of racing action left here. Oh man, I forgot to look at the clock. It's a big lead.
Oh, it's big, yeah. No, back to your point, yeah, Josh Strang, if you get on the podium, we want the shoey.
Did you see the micro rider do a shoey?
I saw one last year, but somebody did it this weekend?
Johnny Gerard on screen in the 4th place spot, and not all that far behind Stu Baylor.
The kid's commit, too.
So potentially looking up to get himself into a battle for the podium is Johnny Gerard, and that would be a big step in the direction for him.
Yes.
After we talked about a disappointing round 1 and round 2, he came into the day and just said, hey, I know I need to score points. I need to get this train back on the tracks. It's my rookie year in XC1. I got the speed. I just got to get things going my way. What better way to do that than a solid top 5?
That's
or potentially a podium.
Yeah, and you know, coming into the season, and we haven't spoke much about Johnny Gerard, but prior to the season, a lot of hype around Johnny Gerard. He was the next big guy coming into the XC1. All right, so here we go. Craig DeLong sits poised to take his first overall win here at the General GNCC. Can he hang on? We'll be right back after this.
Canati Tires, a division of Greenball Corp, has been in the tire business for over 44 years. We're passionate about developing quality tires that perform great and bring extraordinary value to our customers. Whether you're looking for a tire that can handle your off-road adventures, need a reliable tire to take you from job site to job site, or simply want a tire with a beefier look that won't break the bank, then check out Canati Tires.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association has been setting a standard for motorcycle coaching since 2016. Coaching is important for all riders, no matter the age or skill level. The USMCA connects riders with coaches, whether the rider is just starting out on their motorcycling journey, to a competitive amateur racer looking to reach their next milestone, or the professional athlete trying to clinch a title. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app and get connected to a USMCA certified coach today.
And as always here at GNCC Racing, we have the future of GNCC racers out here from last night. A dynamic Stasic race. You can see Johnny Gerard out there running in the top 5 here today. He's got his little boy Ziggy. The youth just absolutely love this one, Mikey. And Griff really gets into it with the announcing. Griff Cotter, he's out there pulling bikes through the finish line today, but yesterday he is the man with the mic. He's calling the action. He hypes these guys up. Champions in the making. And these little kids, they take it serious.
Oh, yeah. I always joke, MAV TV voiceovers for these, you know, hey, it's not a points race. You can't tell these little kids that they're banging bars, they're jockeying for position, they're all over the rear wheel. Rubbin's racing.
Nothing showed you how serious these kids take this until you go to one where they had to cancel it last year. And it was like you wouldn't believe these kids were absolutely devastated. So GNCC and Stasic doing a phenomenal thing here, giving these kids an opportunity to showcase their talent. There you see little Bodie Mullins there, the future of GNCC racing. Again, these kids, 4 years old, they start out. Some of them, I think, even younger than that. The parents might be lying with the birth certificates a little bit just to get them out there, get some extra seat time.
Is he AMA 4 or is he AMA 3?
There we see little man, little, what do you call him, pellet gun? Isn't that what Rodney called him?
Yeah,
Shotgun
BB gun, Remington.
Yeah. We see Thad Duvall cheering on Jacoby. He's got the kit. He's all lettered up,
dude.
taking the win. And there we go. The fist pump, clapping for himself, letting everybody know he grabbed the win.
That's as cool as it gets right there. That is what GNCC racing is all about.
You know, Mikey, we've talked about it a lot, and seeing the strength of the youth in GNCC racing right now, it really just does speak volumes about the future of the sport.
Yeah, we just missed Craig through this 8-mile mark, but Craig was able to come through, so we should be seeing Strang and Baylor coming through next. But yeah, to your point, Johnny, and we see it big time, you know, at GNCC, and we see it at Motos too. By the time these kids get to the P-Dub, we're talking racecraft. Yeah. We're talking, you know, they know how to work that machine. It just continues between the Striders and, of course, the Stasics. Yep. It just progressing our sport forward.
Well, and now Stasic has the 18 and 20-inch models, so the bigger kids are even on them. I mean, and if you watch them ride, it's crazy, like you said. By the time they get on a P-Dub or by the time they get on an actual 50, you know, they have such good bike skills that, you know, they're not really learning to ride. They're perfecting their craft at 5, 6, 7 years old.
It's incredible. It just... something else.
Want to know what else is incredible? How deep some of these ruts are. You see that rut to the right there.
We're not, when we said handlebar deep, it's not an exaggeration.
We saw the shot earlier. There was a bike buried, and the fuel tank was barely sticking above the top edge of the rut. Yeah. Like, how do you even kind of wrap your head around that? Like, you come around a corner
it over and
you see what's left of a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Like, that's really the only thing you can kind of attribute it to, is what's left of that dirt bike is now I have to work my way through the rest of the course here. Not one of our leaders. No, not Josh Strang. Didn't look. Okay, maybe it was Josh Strang. Was hard to tell there, but Josh Strang, we do believe, was still in the second place position, and Stu Baylor in third. Those guys rounding out the podium. A couple of longtime regulars on the podium, and XC1 guys that have just kind of been through it all, and they're out there today showing their mettle and showing the experience. But right now, the almost rookie, 1 year of experience, Craig DeLong, leading the way. All right, we're waiting to see if it is Stu Baylor coming, and that was Josh Strang. I don't think it was. We're watching here, and that is Josh Strang on screen, your number 17 machine. There is your second place rider, and Stu Baylor was just barely behind him in our last camera shot. We'll see if that gap has opened up at all. Again, Baylor didn't seem to have a whole lot of urgency. He kind of looked like he had settled into a pace and was just kind of content to get it to the finish line, be on the podium, and ultimately take over the points lead. Well, maintain the points lead all on his own.
Yeah.
He was a co-points leader coming into the day today, tied with Ben Kelly, and this would set him in the points lead all by himself and would be the only one able to run the reverse number plate in 3 weeks' time at round 4.
And with a broken rib.
With a broken rib.
That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Good. And that's another thing. We're seeing him potentially settle in here, definitely giving up some time to Strang here since the last camera shot. The pain that he's got to be riding in with a broken
Tomorrow.
rib is
sure.
Johnny Gerard taking over the number 3 spot, has wrestled it away from Stu Baylor. We have a new podium.
Spoke too soon.
Yeah. There it is. Johnny Gerard up to the 3 spot. Johnny Gerard coming back in a big way. Disappointing first 2 rounds. Now is up into the 3rd place position. Don't know if we missed Stu Baylor there. We think he may be just behind Gerard. We'll know for sure here at this shot. 10-mile marker when they come through. We're still waiting. We're still watching. Craig DeLong should be coming through here. He is your leader, but we know that we have a new podium rider, Johnny Gerard, up into the 3rd place position, up on the box as they run.
Well, we were just talking about Johnny Gerard prior to the break. Johnny needs a good day. He needed a good day.
Top 5 would have been a good day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. A top 5 would have been stellar
better
for him. But if he can put it on the box.
And there is Stu Baylor. So he has lost a bunch more time. Pretty soon we'll be falling back into the clutches of that may have been Ben Kelly.
There we go. So everything we were just saying a moment ago could potentially be out the window as your points leaders. Stu Baylor and we think maybe Ben Kelly right there. Hard to see.
Yeah, the stumps are just gnarly out there. The ruts are getting deeper. The ruts are getting deeper. The stumps are getting more exposed. So many obstacles for these guys to traverse. I mean, they've got to get through all this one last time. It's only a couple miles, 2 miles from here to the finish line, but so many things that can jump up and grab you. Craig DeLong, every one of those looks like a bulldozer coming after him, the way his mind is working right now. But, man, I mean, with the 1.5-minute lead, I don't know. I can't put myself in that position. The one and only time I ever won a race, I had some guy named Walker Fowler hot on my heels and Adam McGill not far behind in the final miles. So it was like, I didn't really have time to think about it. I was just so panicked. I don't think I took a breath. For Craig DeLong, it's got to be harder because he's been in this position now for 2 full laps where he's kind of been on his own, out front, seeing the pit boards. Hey, you got 30 seconds. Hey, you got a minute. Hey, you got a 1.5 minutes. And, it's a great feeling to be riding away, but at the same time, gives you a lot of time to think.
It's a good thing to think about, though, and I'm sure Craig is welcoming those thoughts into his head.
Well,
soak it up.
Let me say one thing. I started to say it earlier, and I'm not going to give it all away because I don't want to be any part of jinxing anything. But Craig DeLong has a superstition. If he crosses the finish line in first place today, we might need to talk about that. But I don't want to be the one that I already mentioned it, so I don't want to go into any more detail.
Okay, but will you go in?
I will. I will.
All right.
We'll talk about it.
All right. Very good. Well, now we're not supposed to be biased, but now I'm rooting for Craig because I want to know.
It's not a matter of rooting for it. It's a superstition, and it just speaks to the mentality of racers. Things I had a thing for a while back in 2013. I got on the podium with a pair of Lucky socks, and I wore them for like 2 years after that. Craig DeLong on screen and still leading the way. Wow, those boots got clean. Goggles off, but the boots are clean, so he must have just come through a section of water, put that foot down. So we'll see what the gap is. 2:46.09 as he left that shot, give or take. And at this point, 2 miles to go, and nothing really super challenging. It's kind of just some clear-cut stuff, no question. Ruts are deep, a lot of logs, but it's really just hitting your marks, maintaining your composure, and making it all happen. That's not. For a minute, I thought that was Josh Strang, and I thought, whoa, we got a race here. But that is another lap rider. And, man, everybody's going to be happy to see a checkered flag today. Regardless of position, you may not be happy with your finish, but you're going to be happy that it's finished.
It's over. And, 2 weekends in between between now and the next round of GNCC as we
welcome break. I mean, we talked about it.
Sure.
In the hype, the preseason opener. We talked about this is the toughest week in GNCC racing, coming off of the tough, brutal Florida sand, zaps every ounce of energy. You've got to get rigs loaded up. You've got that. Looks kind of, sort of, but not like Josh Strang. It is. That gap is a little closer, but it's still right at a minute. So 2:46.09 or 10, I said, and 2:47. So a minute gap. Was a minute and a half, but Josh Strang on the charge, but he's going to have to put in a Herculean effort to make up 1 minute on Craig DeLong and 2 miles of trail. Again, still really comes down to Craig in the track deciding who's going to win this thing today, and it's his to lose.
He's got to win it. He has got to win it because as huge as the confidence boost would be for Craig DeLong to win this, I'm not even going to say it, but the opposite of that would be so detrimental mentally. Let's just not even face that scenario, Craig. Bring it home.
And it should be the 969 of Johnny Gerard, based on our last camera shot that we see next, taking over that third and final podium spot, wrestling it away from Stu Baylor. Again, Baylor just didn't look to be pushing the last couple camera shots prior, even though he was still solidly in that podium position. We don't know if it's a bike issue, if that broken rib has finally become too much, just can't hang on, muddy grips, whatever it may be. Something has slowed his pace, and Johnny Gerard closed that gap, put in the push, made the pass, and we don't know for sure if Stu may have fallen back any further. We know he was still in fourth physically, but it looked like he may have some pressure from behind. Looks like we do have some riders coming here, and it's been a while. Johnny has lost some time, so something else may have developed here. There is Johnny Gerard. There is Stu Baylor. There is Jordan Ashburn. So now it is 3, 4, and 5 on screen. Gerard, Baylor, Ashburn. So you've got 3 guys, 1 podium spot left up for grabs, and there's Ben Kelly. So 3, 4, 5, 6 as they run. And those guys are all right together. You've got 4 guys basically in the battle for 1 podium spot. That's going to be a wild 2 miles of racing, Mikey.
Who's going to get to talk about their race? Who's going to get to thank their sponsors? That's what's up for points. More importantly, points. All those things coming into play right there. So that one's going to be a dogfight like we had yesterday for the second place position.
You mentioned the points. This is not yet a checkered flag. Nope, still white. You mentioned the points. Obviously, Stu Baylor, if he finishes ahead of Ben Kelly, gets to, and he is right now about 4 seconds ahead of him, but 2 positions ahead, he would maintain that points lead. If Ben Kelly can make the passes, then the reverse is true. So it's really a dogfight between those 2 at this point for the points lead. They are tied, whichever one of them finishes ahead of the other. But man, we can't see Craig, but he's working his way through these pines right here, and he's probably less than a minute away from a checkered flag waving just into the final mile of racetrack here. And he's just carefully picking lines with about a minute gap over Josh Strang. Josh could still pull the rabbit out of his hat, but it really truly is Craig DeLong's race to lose at this point.
Exciting times here, and how big between Baylor and Kelly. Back to that one, you want to finish in front of the other guy. Even better if you can get a couple bikes in between you in your class in that scenario. So we'll see how that one plays out. But right now, we're keeping our eyes on that finish line. We were looking for the 3:42 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna of Craig DeLong.
Mikey, I'm going to have to let you call this one because I think I might get a little emotional here. I've known this guy since he was 14 years old, trying to keep up on a road bike down in Florida. Big brother Andrew yelling at him, telling him to push harder, and how a bunch of the guys kind of defending him. And here he stands right on the cusp of potentially his first XC1 and overall win here today in the Georgia Clay. Muddy race, technical conditions, absolutely every obstacle thrown at these guys. And so far, through 4 laps and 11 miles of racing, Craig DeLong has done it best and set the pace. He's out front, just a few short sections between him and potentially a very historic first win.
No doubt. You just think of the journey that Craig has taken to get to this point. It's not over. The man's just getting started, to be honest with you. And I just keep going back to last year at Ironman, talking to him, and he said, Craig's words, spoke with Caleb Russell, and Caleb's like, enough of the podiums. Fight for wins.
you need to be there fighting for wins. And Craig's very aware of that, and it's not for lack of trying. He's been right there. He's led races, but that checkered flag, he's just not seen it first. And you could see the maturity level of DeLong as those happy podiums turned into
these guys look like they're
do
waiting.
not want to go do another lap. So Craig is closing in on this finish line. We are standing by with our cameras. We want to get the word in there, and we want to capture that celebration. And comes from a family race pedigree. As you'd mentioned, his brother Andrew DeLong was a pro rider himself. Matter of fact, was
the camera shaking. That must mean we got a leader coming in.
He was pro up until a couple of years ago, but Craig is making it happen here at the General as we wait here at the finish, looking for the 342.
Those folks sitting over there, they are not stuck. They are waiting. They do not want to do another lap on these treacherous conditions, or so it would seem. They're still moving to the side, making room for a bike coming through that is still not Craig DeLong, another rider that's going to wait, or maybe they're going to go for it.
Or maybe Ricky Towery's saying, hey, you guys can come through, just exit. Yeah. Just exit when you come through.
That guy wants another lap. I like his commitment there. He's like, hey, I'm going to go catch some people, make some passes. And Jared Bolton waiting there to start the sweep. Man, this is a long 2 miles of racetrack. I thought they would have been in by now.
It is.
Is that?
He's late.
I think that may have been just Craig DeLong. No?
No, we can't miss it.
No. No? No.
Craig's a minute 30 off that lap time from the previous lap.
Now we're getting into the range of potentially Josh Strang popping out of the woods.
Yeah, flirting with that. Is it going to be Craig at this moment? You hope everything's okay.
You can cut the tension with a knife.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm just excited to see who it is that pops out of the woods. Another rider that's saying, nope, not another lap for me. I'm going to wait right here. Man, there's got to be some tough conditions between where we saw him at the 10 and here, because they would have covered that much ground in that amount of time. Perhaps a bottleneck.
And not to mention the freight train that follows behind. We saw that call it four-way battle, basically.
Yeah, a lot of action still working its way towards the finish line. That bike looks like it's moving pretty rapidly.
Yeah. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, your checkered flag. Shoot. Checkered flag flies as we to take one out of the Rodney Tomlin playbook. We were waiting with bated breath right there, Johnny Gallagher. And Johnny's still almost in disbelief.
I just, yeah, you can see he's just absolutely
Craig
overwhelmed.
DeLong. The man's gassed. Look at that. The smile, he cannot help it. Ear to ear for Craig DeLong. I got to think that finish line area is absolutely rocking right now for Craig DeLong. Well earned, Craig. My hat is off to you, buddy. Just stoked for you.
He's taking a look back. He wants to know who 2 and 3 are. He's thinking about the points right now. He's happy with the win, but he wants to know how this is going to shake out in the points. Will he take the points lead? We got to wait. Stu Baylor and Ben Kelly both in that next pack of riders after Josh trying to come in. But we're going to try and get a word with Craig here as soon as we can get him to. He's watching the finish line. He wants to know who's coming in.
Jackson Burrell standing by right there. If you guys got the opportunity, take it away.
All right, guys, I'm here with your overall winner, Craig DeLong. Craig, getting that first win. How does it feel, man? Take me through your race.
It's kind of a blur right now, actually. There's a lot that happened. Man, I got the whole shot, and I didn't really want to lead, to be honest with you. And I got the jump, and I'm like, well, I guess I gotta go through all the mud holes first. So once we got out there, I didn't mind it, and Stu was kind of wanting to go, and I kind of let it have it, and we just kind of followed the leader. And I didn't really lead a lot, but I think I led pretty much through the finish line every lap. I think they kind of like kept giving it up over there, and I don't even know what section that was, but I just kind of stayed steady, and we pitted a lap early, and they kind of, I knew I had to put a little bit of a gap down, and I didn't try to set the world on fire, just kind of hit my marks and didn't fall, and just kind of build up a gap, and just need to maintain it. And I tried the last lap. I guess I was trying to throw it away. I crashed like 5 times, and got my gloves all muddy and stuff. But man, we brought it home, and first one for sure. It's awesome.
Craig, after
racing for so long. How does it feel to finally get this win?
It's pretty awesome, actually. It's I worked my ass off this winter, and it's paid off.
It sure has, guys. That's your overall winner for the first time, Craig DeLong.
Let's see, it goes 25, 21, 18. So 3 points will be the gap between those guys. Look at this guy. Josh Strang back on the box. He's got the mouth guard in there, making sure he doesn't mess up those pearly whites while he's out there racing. Awesome ride today. Josh Strang been struggling a little bit here early in 2023, coming back from that injury. But today he puts it on the box. An absolutely phenomenal ride for the Babbitt's Online Monster Energy Kawasaki rider. You know this has got to be one happy guy. You can see he's got the family there, and they got to be happy for him. I'm sure the team's happy for him. You see the other teams coming over. Yep. Just such a likable guy Josh Strang is, and you can call him old, you can call him whatever you want, but today he used that experience and he put it right on the box, right where he wants to be.
If you don't respect the game of Josh Strang, you just don't like racing, period. I mean, the man he's timeless. He's timeless. Zach Heron standing by with an interview. Josh Strang going to get a freshie on the head there. And when you're ready, Zach Heron, take it away. Get the word in here from Josh Strang.
Yeah, guys, we're down letting Josh get everything together after a long race. Josh, we knew you've had the speed. You were coming back from injury. We saw on your social media, your sadness reminded you of 2014, and you've been able to put it up here on the box. How you feeling right now, man?
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even, that's Aussie cuss words back there if you're asking. So, no, it was, man, it was a crazy day. It was probably worse than 2014. It's like the clear cut made it, just there was like tree roots and everything, so the soft dirt just cupped out all the roots. It was definitely a difficult day, and I was leading there for a little bit, and then second lap I just buried it and went to the back and was behind some XC2 guys, and just had to just keep plugging away and just not get stuck. And honestly, I didn't know. I I knew Craig was in front. I thought Craig, Ricky, and Ben, and so I thought I was in like fourth or fifth or something. So I kind of buried it last lap. So it would have been nice to not and maybe catch Craig, but congrats to him, man. First win always is pretty special. So
absolutely, we've been talking about you coming back from injury, trying to build the momentum, being able to put it up on the box here. We're going to be pushing hard forward to bring it back into the top step.
Yeah, this is definitely not a definitely doesn't make up for my first two rounds. So I still got quite a bit of work to do, and I don't like to think of myself as just a mud specialist, but the last 3 or 4 mud races has been good. So no, it's a good race to get the wheels back on the track.
Josh Strang put it on the box, making progress moving forward here in the XC1 class.
Oh, Josh Strang, can't say enough good things about the man. And you know, he not born and raised in the States, but he is as patriotic and as hardcore American as most people should be that grew up here. Love the guy. Just love to see when he has success.
Such a good dude. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I connected as much with Josh early in his career, but something the last couple of years, don't know if it's because we're both. He's not as old as I am by any means, but he's one of the elder statesmen of the XC1 class, and I just relate to him. He's having fun. He's got his family here. He's loving it. Speaking of having fun, this guy looks like.
When does Stu not have fun? Yeah. He's like, my rib's broken. I'm in pain. We're still going to send it. Take it away, Jackson Burrell.
All right, guys, I'm here with your third place on the day, Stu Baylor. Stu, I know you had some broken ribs from last week. Take me through today.
Yeah, I got off to a decent start, got to the lead early, and just fought hard. There was a lot of mistakes to be made, and I kept making them. I was finding the deep holes for everybody, but the last 2 laps, the bike just started shutting off, and I was just losing positions constantly, and then right towards the end of the last lap, I had a few fans point me an early left line out of a ditch. I took it, I fell, got past, got back up, and followed the line, but I think it might have been off the track, so we'll see what the call is on that. The first thing I said was, hey, I might have got off the track, but man, on days like today, you don't know where the track goes. There was so many track changes throughout the day, and you know, it's part of the mud racing, and if they got to protest me, so be it. But we had a good comeback. The ribs were hurting like hell, and it is what it is. We'll be strong for the next one.
What's the plan for round 4, Stu?
Just back where I've already won. I know what to do there. It's good conditions, and you know, hopefully we'll just be able to click off another one.
All right, thanks, Stu. Everybody, that's your 3rd place on the day, Stu Baylor.
Well, Mikey, you heard it right out of his mouth. Stu Baylor saying that there was a little question on the last lap about a line that he took. To his credit, you know, never didn't even have to really go to anyone else. He said, hey, he came in and said, hey, guys, I took a line. Not sure if it was legal or not. Let's figure it out. Let's see if I hang on to this number 3 spot or not. And here we are. Look at this. Zach is with your XC2 winner. Josh Strang said the Aussies were, I didn't hear the oi, 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 but they were celebrating. And here is Zach with your XC2 winner.
Yeah, these Aussies have got something figured out. We heard Gus, the celebration when you came behind. I was talking to Josh Strang. Tell us what you're feeling right now, man.
I'm over the moon. I didn't know what position I was going into last lap, and I knew I was sort of in the podium position, but I just tried not to rush anything, just take the long way around some of those mud holes, and yeah, just get through it.
Angus, man, you were able to get it down. Is this first XC2 win?
Yeah, first ever one.
There you go, man. What better way to do it than in conditions like this? Could you have drawn it up any better?
Nah, this is a pretty good confidence boost for the mud. Last time I raced mud, I sucked.
There you go, Gus Road, making big steps towards the top there and bringing home a number 1 in the XC2 today. Good job.
Well, big congratulations, Angus Reardon. Evan Smith hangs on the Beta Machine County for a 2nd place. Now, Cody Barnes moved into the 3 spot.
So we got a Phoenix Honda up there as well.
It was a good day. Recap the FMF XC3 real quick here before we're taking a look at the top 10 right now, and that's still loading. So we'll take a look. Craig DeLong, his first career overall win. Stoked for the man. What a ride here today. The old Wiley veteran, Josh Strang finishes in the 2 spot, and Stu Baylor in 3rd. The other guy that had the points lead coming into this one, Ben Kelly, finished just behind Stu in 4th, and Johnny Gerard rounding out that top 5. Real quick, FMF XC3, Liscombe, Jack Walker, Sawyer Karatura. These guys still due in here in about 8 minutes, but that is going to wrap things up for us here at the General GNCC. Johnny, big takeaway today?
It was muddy. Things got wild. Craig DeLong came out on top. You know, Josh Strang, obviously phenomenal ride for him. Stu Baylor coming away with the points lead as it stands right now. Again, some questions there possibly. That'll all be settled this week. You know, can't say enough about Craig DeLong, man. Awesome ride for him. The emotions. What an event here today. Can't believe we've pulled this one off as bad as the conditions are, and what a battle it was.
No doubt. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap things up for us here at the Specialized General GNCC. We take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll be back at the Tiger Run GNCC at the Big Buck property in South Carolina. On behalf of our entire staff, our camera operators, Ed, Dylan, Adam, Matt, Josh, and David, drone pilot, Daniel Rogerson, Carrie Russell, our executive producer, Adam Gordon, our producer, Nick Vosberg, Jordan McFadden, Dan Reinhart, Jackson Burrell with the sideline call, Zach Herron, Johnny Gallagher, and me, Mikey Waynes. We'll see you at the races.